Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. I am Darren. Hello, how are you? Oh man, I've been meaning to get on this, but oh boy, I haven't been doing them. I've been doing a few, but I haven't been putting them up, and I don't know what it is. Is it because I'm afraid to put them up? I don't know. But anyways, this is Season 2. I've been meaning to put these out, since January, but it's now March 25th. 2021, and here I am doing this one, but I just did it. I just spoke with over 2 hours with Tony Diamond, a comedian I know way back when, so me and him just went all over the place with all kinds of stuff, PC, un-PC, talking about the world situation, talking about comedy, his situation, his life, liberty, love, all of it. Went everywhere. But one thing I hope is that it's interesting, and I believe it is. I'm going to go with my judgment on it. So if you're watching this, thanks, man. And woman, if you're watching it too, make sure you like and subscribe, right? Is that the thing that you're supposed to do? Like and subscribe it? Because for some reason that's what's what? You know why. So anyways, I'm going to try and get a little more, what is it? Involved in the advertising of this. I'm going to try and love myself a little bit using this, since I've got all the equipment. I mean, come on. And I love talking with people, and I'd agree, it's a wild conversation. It's definitely interesting. If there's a boring part in there, just give it a minute or two, and then I get right to some interesting stuff. So conversation's going there. You get to know a little bit about Tony Diamond, and a little bit about myself. And a little bit about maybe some stuff you ain't never heard before. And I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to leave the whole thing up. Because, you can fast forward. You can listen to it later. You have all that. It's not a tape. It's not a CD or a VHS where you have to rewind or, fast forward with a finger. And someone's put this whole thing up. It's going to be long, right? But who cares? 2021. Tony Diamond. Oh wait, let me just take you. Let me drink you in for a minute.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Can I get a profile? Let me see a profile. More of a profile. Just look over there, way to the back of the room. Look to the back. There we go. Oh wow. That's something else.
Huh?
Okay. Good. Can I see the other side now to see if it matches? Ooh, this is your better side. Look at how handsome you were. On the other side, you were like, well, I don't know if we should do this podcast, but, we shouldn't videotape it.
Right.
But that side, you're like Clark
audio.
Gable.
Right.
Wow. You're part of like half Shemp and half Clark Gable.
That's you know what? If I had to be anyone, I've never heard that before. If anyone had to do a combo for me, I'll take Shemp and Clark Gable any day.
I'm making it all up. I'm just messing with you.
I love it.
I love you, buddy.
I love you, pal.
I want to apologize for all my whatever I've ever done to. Well, I know you tried to contact me like about 2 years ago. You were coming into town. And by the time I contacted you back, you had already left town. So I was like, bad.
That happens.
And you contacted me like 3 or 4 times via text, and I was so meaning to do it, and I didn't do it. And I just want to air that out, that I feel real salty for that.
Well, the fact that you feel salty makes you a good human being, and the fact that you want to air it out makes you even a better human being. However,
yeah,
I never held any grudge against you. Always love, and so. I understand people are busy. I actually called, when I went to Chicago, I had a longtime friend and that I hadn't seen since I lived in Chicago. So I had not been back to Chicago. I left there in 1998, came back in 2000, I think it was 16 for a bar mitzvah. Mm-hmm. And I called, and I had been friendly on Facebook with this woman that I was just friends with, and came back to Chicago, and I called her and see if she wanted to get together just to meet for lunch, nothing like that. Mm-hmm. And she just goes, I'd actually rather not. I'm not in a place to get together with anybody right now. was like, oh, well, I totally understand that,
Mm-hmm.
and not even like, I mean, I don't want to, she obviously she's going,
What
she
was your
was, or maybe
move? What was your move?
I called her. I just said, hey, I'm in town for a little bit. I'd love to say I haven't seen you in a long time. We talk on Facebook here and there, but this is my first time back since I moved. You know,
And she thought you wanted to get romantic, or you
no,
did
no,
want to get romantic?
no. She knows that. I mean, I post pictures of me and my wife all the time, and our dog is that guy
Oh,
right there.
okay.
And so,
I'm totally misunderstanding.
yeah, no, no. Just I'm just saying, like, I called someone in Chicago,
Right.
while I was there, and we
Mm-hmm.
actually connected, spoke to speak, and she's like, I, I don't want to get together. I don't. It's not you. I'm not getting with anyone. I just don't.
Oh,
I don't want to leave
whoa, whoa,
I
whoa,
can't leave my
whoa.
couch.
So now we're talking, you have almost pinged some really heavy depression that you weren't aware of
I
before.
was not aware of. And so we talked on I was on the train. I was going into the city.
Okay.
I was staying in Oak Park.
Yeah, so how long do you
So
talk? How
we
long?
talked, we talked for maybe 25 minutes. And she
That's
just said,
good for
yeah,
somebody
on
who's
my,
so depressed they don't want to see anybody.
right.
25 minutes is
Um,
actually pretty good. Did
yeah,
you make her laugh?
I did.
Oh, that's good. Well
Yeah.
done, buddy.
Thank you. Um,
If you
so I
can
told,
make a depressed person laugh, dude, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's a
yeah,
moment of it's not being depressing if you're laughing. If you're in the midst of a true laugh,
yeah,
you are not in that very moment depressed. I mean, you
right.
may be
And
depressed overall. And she might
that's
have,
right.
after your phone call, got even worse because she did
Right.
talk to you and you did make her laugh. And I'll never laugh again. And, it's just like
I
over.
had that one moment and it's gone.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
I guess it could go like that. But I honestly believe that's the power of comedy. That's the power
There's no question
of
about it.
what we do. That's our like it's like a little piece of mental medicine,
Yeah, I agree.
or it's a pain reliever for a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like any kind of escape, really,
Mm-hmm.
non-pharmaceutical escape. It's TV show, music, of course, comedy.
Yeah,
It
but
all
nothing
works
greater,
as
honestly, though, than a real human connection with somebody like what we're doing, and real, true empathy and doing the thing that you best could at that moment, which was talk for 25 minutes and make her laugh at some things that you said. And
yeah.
hopefully you guys enjoyed yourself, at least for that time.
We did. It was nice to talk with her. And I've always been such a, I don't know what the word is, but like, instead of being like, oh, you gotta be
Empath?
kidding me. Well, no, well, I don't know. I mean, anyone who describes themselves as an empath, for personally, I'm like, I always think is a little odd to describe yourself. I like when other people think that you're an empath. I think that's fair.
Right.
Maybe I'm just not that hubris to think that
Well,
I'm an
all right,
empath.
what's a
But
different word for it?
um, I guess empathetic or sympathetic to other people. Being dialed in.
You can
Um,
walk in other people's shoes easier than normal,
Absolutely.
than your average bear.
Yeah, but I was going to say that I've never been the kind of guy that, like, even though I haven't seen this person in since 1998 and 2015,
Oh,
instead of
yeah.
being like, oh, what the fuck, are you kidding me? We haven't seen each other. I was like, okay,
Oh.
all right. I've always been like that guy. Like, I haven't seen you in 25 years. You don't want to see me. I understand. You know, no, I never had a hard feeling.
Well,
I
you
always get
know right out
people.
the gate what this is that you have talked into. In other words,
Right.
that moment you walked mentally into this. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not a doctor, you're not, but there's definitely a thing here, and you, yeah, you didn't shut it down. Like, wait, let me get you. I'm gonna get somebody coming over there right now and gonna help you. You know what I mean?
Right.
That might she need from some other person in her life, like a family member or some shit. But that's not your job. Your job is a comedian of somebody you didn't meet 20 years ago when you were peaking out in comedy back then, weren't you?
When I was living in Chicago. That was my time.
You were
Mid '90s
fucking
that was
killing.
my time.
Every time I saw you go up, without fail, it was always a standing ovation by whoever was there, even if it was two people.
Well, you want to hear a funny story? You were
Every
actually
time.
there. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah?
Before I moved to Chicago, I came to visit.
Okay. Back in
And
what
I got
year?
it. It was still 1994. It was right before I moved, and came to visit some friends, check out the city, um, and I was able to get a spot at the Improv.
Yeah.
The old Improv with the two, the balcony, the
Hell
on
to the
Wells,
fuck yeah. It was the
and I did get.
Tyrannosaurus Rex of comedy
Oh,
right downtown, tearing up the
I
funny firm and stomping on
no, it was
top
the
of
best. Yeah,
Zanies.
and I
500
did a
people. Go.
yeah, yeah, no, no, and I did a guest set, and it was the midnight show,
Okay.
and you guys were on, I believe.
Ectomorph.
Ectomorph was on, I believe. Rob Paravonian,
Rob
Gideon
Paravani who
Bailey.
plays guitar. Now, as you're telling your story, I'm just going to add this in.
Sure.
Put detail in it as if nobody knows what the hell we're talking about. So I
All
need
right.
you to
Sure, of
pepper it.
course.
So in other words, you say Rob Paravonian,
Rob Paravonian,
guitar
he was
playing
he had a
funny, won
guitar
best
guitar
prize, blah
act.
blah
He
blah.
was great. Gideon Bailey, who, if I remember correctly, kind of had this very soft spoken, very, what was he like? Not a guy who gives in talks and gets people,
Gideon Bailey. All
going.
right, I'll do his best joke I ever seen him do. The best response ever from an
Okay.
audience of 500 people at the Improv. So he does the one where he takes his tie and he rolls up the big one, right? And then he rolls up the small one right there on stage, and he goes, "All right, so all right, I'm gonna have a race now. Everybody want to get which one do you think's gonna go down first?" And you get the audience all worked up. Left, that many people left to the right one, and then he'd finally everybody's like betting against which one would be which. Sure, okay, wait, he'd milk it out, right? And then he'd go, "All right, here we go. On your mark, get set, go." It's a tie, and then the fucking place went nuts. And I was like, God
That's
damn,
awesome.
that's a closer.
Yeah, closer and ballsy for a closer.
Oh my God. And that was just, it just happened to be
Yeah.
a throwaway for him. But
Yep.
the audience, dude, it was such a, they weren't expecting it.
No, that was a left. It
I
was great.
wasn't expecting it. It was just genuinely fucking funny. So it was as if
It,
he did an atomic bomb of something funny that
yep.
was like 4 levels above what he was doing before it.
Right.
He could never quite catch the high of what that was, and it was the
Right.
tie
And
bit.
he just had this motivational speaker energy to him. In my opinion.
Everybody
So
loved
he
him.
so he was on. So I don't remember the order, but I do remember that I had to follow Obadiah Thomas, who juggled and had
Yes,
fire and
yes,
loud music cues in his act.
that's right. That we forgot to add that in. That's right. I
So
forgot
I
he
followed
does.
him
He's a
at a
full-out
midnight
clown
show. So I was not first,
or
second, or third. I was
entertainer.
fourth.
Yeah,
What's
okay.
that?
He
Yeah,
was a total entertainer. So you're following a total entertainer on a night at the Improv at midnight where people are their drunkest.
that's right.
It's like a 5 drink
After
minimum,
after
everybody after
Ectomorph,
midnight. So, right. And so there's probably 300 people at least in the audience.
at least.
At least. Probably 400 most likely. And wasted. And getting
Yep.
plied with drinks like hardcore.
Including the friends I came to visit and their two friends.
Shit. So people are plowed. And so now you're the fourth one on. Now, the way they did it back then was R. O'Donnell made it, it was kind of like a variety show almost. He would have all types of different things coming up there that he wouldn't pay very well. So they wouldn't have to pay a professional headliner and middle act to keep coming in. It was a variety show. So, but comedy was the main thing. And you're the stand up. Obadiah's the entertainer, all around guy, magician slash juggler slash whoa. Then Ectomorph was second, and we're just like the Blue Man Group, but with stand up, with words and scenes, sha, 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 and real tight.
The wooden spoon.
Yep. Right, that's the punchline. Dude, I got to watch myself again and remember
Uh,
these bits.
Nothing
But
funnier.
right, we killed because we were so different, and we also had our sketches were short, quick, and
That's
punchline. Ding dang
exactly right.
boom,
In
ding
and
dang
out
boom.
and funny.
Right. It was this was not our Ectomorph was not born out of Second City. If we were, they'd probably be a long build up sketch. You know what I mean?
Right.
We were born out of basically a late show on Saturday. You got 5 minutes. What are you gonna do, you three guys, on a stage that has already a whole drum set and everything? So it's like 2 feet of stage for three guys over 6 feet tall.
Exactly.
And
And you
boom.
guys were great because it was like lights on, bang, 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 3 minutes, lights out, boom,
Boom.
lights on,
Yep.
lights out.
Yep.
You had it was so great.
We would, yeah, we would
So
in
I had to
dark.
come up after you and after Obadiah and right after Obadiah.
Yep.
And
Okay, here we go.
at least 300. And this was just a guest set. So I had not moved to Chicago yet.
Are you drunk?
And I was not drunk, but I'll tell you this, I absolutely, no doubt I tanked. It was crickets. Crickets.
For how long?
I probably was up 7 minutes, maybe.
7 minutes in front of
7,
like
10.
400 people seems
Yeah.
basically like about 2.5 hours.
Probably at that point, yeah.
Well, after
Something
the
like that.
first minute, you say, "Oh, nothing is getting them."
This is terrible.
I've done two punchlines and nothing.
No, I mean, and I could see my
3
friends staring at
punchlines,
me.
nothing. 4 punchlines, 5 punchlines. Just getting worse. Everybody's now like turning and talking to each other.
Yeah,
Like,
I got my ass handed to me. It was awful.
How did
And-
you
and-
feel
and
it? Did anybody boo? Was there any event that
Nobody
happened?
booed, but they were really just. Thankfully, they didn't boo. They were quiet. So Tom Tenney's up in the booth.
Yeah.
Right, doing his thing.
The light
I
man.
forget who the host
sound.
was. But I and the manager of the club, what was his name? In glasses. Nice enough guy. I can't remember his name. I don't want to say his name. I don't remember his name. And I think it's good because I think, if I remember correctly, he got booted for some kind of scam with the money and the
Yikes.
beer and the alcohol.
Yeah,
Something-
let's
I don't
not
know,
mention
something.
anybody's names now, especially if that's what you just said.
But what was really the best part, which made me, actually laugh, is I was sitting by the bar afterwards, outside. Show's still going on.
Right?
The manager comes out and goes, "Hey, how'd it go? I didn't get to see it." He goes, "It didn't go well." He's like, "Oh man, I bet you're being hard on yourself." I go, No, I'm telling you, it didn't go well. He goes, "No, I guarantee you're being harder than you should."
You're
be.
being hard on yourself.
I'm gonna go talk to Tom, and I bet you it's better.
Oh,
So like,
boy.
okay.
So he doesn't see it. He goes to talk to Tom to get Tom's rating of how Tony Diamond did, guest from out of town who's thinking
Right.
about moving up here. And let's
Right.
see how he does in front of 400 people on a midnight show.
Exactly. Comes back out. Just me and him. No one at the bar actually. So I was sitting at the bar,
Yeah.
dejected.
Were you
He
looking
comes
at
by.
his face? Was there a tear coming out of his eye or something?
I look at him. He looks at me, and he just goes, "No." Doesn't say a word. Just goes.
Wow. What do you do
And I
with that
couldn't help but laugh.
information?
It was great.
How does
Timing
that
was
hit?
perfect.
How does that affect your psyche, though? How old are
it
you at
affected
this
my
time? How old are you?
27.
You're 27 years old. Okay, so you should have some barriers up to be able to take that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
how
I'd
did you
already been
take
doing
it?
for a long time, and this was maybe the first time.
Brushed it off
in-
like this? Is it like this? What you do?
I might have. Yeah. I
400
eventually
people.
brushed
Oof.
it off.
There you go.
Yeah.
400 people's gone now.
Yeah.
Get them off.
So
There's another 200.
It did make me rethink my move, although I decided to still move
Ooh, it shook your foundation.
a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, should I move there? I've already got a reputation in front of. I'm sure those people are gonna talk. They'll remember me if I go back in a month.
know.
I'm gonna. Yeah, you should have wore a wig and came back with like a whole new look to yourself and
So
rebranded.
yeah, it was definitely
Shit.
yeah. It was
Oh, how bad
one of
does that
those
hurt when you travel
moments.
so much and you do that, and then you just get it handed to you. There's no truth like what the truth you just heard in silence.
I mean,
There's no
silence.
truth that is.
Everything just laid
You
there.
just
Nothing.
you have to assess
so
that as a Oh my God, dude, is it me or am I just having a bad night? Was it the chemistry? Was it them? See, that's how Trump would do. It was all your fault.
Your fault. I'm the greatest.
Never me.
You're the worst.
Yeah, that's why he's better than us.
There's nobody better than him,
It's true. It really is true, according to him.
according to him. He's the best. So I came back to LA, and this was in July because we went. It was July 4th weekend of '94.
Yeah.
And then I came back, and I still packed up my stuff, and I was still got in my car in September of '94, and I drove and moved to Chicago. And the redeeming story of that, in terms of the improv, is not long after I got there, I got to do another guest set. This was a Saturday 9 o'clock show. You guys, I think, were on as well, I want to say. And my friend was visiting from LA to visit me. So he came along. I was seeing someone, so she came along. So I had my two guests. They gave them the first class treatment. Like, oh, we're going to put you guys over here. You know, it's a packed house, but come, you guys come with me, Tony. Get ready for your set. No worries. I'll take care of them. Free drinks. I sat them. The VIP thing was great. So then I go on, and it was night and day. Like as bad as that set was in July, this was the complete opposite.
Different material?
Some the same, some different, but and then it just
What was the change in you that made it better?
Well, I probably had a little more. You know, it's funny when I was watching your interview, your show with Tom Clark, and one thing that rang true about that I can relate to is, for me, comedy in my act was I tried to be melodic about it and tried to have a pacing, you know, keeping my time and keeping like when people, study music, although I didn't, but
a bit of the math, the artistic math of it.
The math of it and just like the melody of it. You know, I always try to have a melody.
Okay.
And I think that night in July when it didn't go well, the melody just tanked. Like this went, like the energy, like, so my timing was off.
So they weren't buying it. You weren't able to sell it.
I couldn't sell it.
Yeah, it wasn't you.
And they were drunk, and it was a lot of things. I'm not going to put it on them. You know,
dude,
we've all been there with those kind of crowds.
Just as a side note, there are true times when it really isn't you. It is the way the audience chemistry is.
There's no question.
And sometimes there's this kind of, they're waiting for other people to laugh. And if other people are waiting for other people to laugh, and those other people are waiting for other people to laugh, and those other people are waiting for other people to laugh, all of a sudden, if they don't laugh at the first one, well, I'm not going to laugh at the second one because nobody laughed at the first one, and we all think that this isn't good. And then nobody's going to laugh, and then they're looking, who's going to laugh first? If anybody laughs, oh my God. And so then 4, 5 punchlines, 6 punchlines, no laugh. Everybody's now like, oh, I am so embarrassed for this guy. Let's start talking about what we're going to do tomorrow. You know, waiter, can I have 2 more drinks, please? Yeah, can we?
Here's what happened at work today.
Yeah,
right.
And there's always a few in the audience who now have deemed you just to be bad as you're up there, and they're getting mad, and I'm going to say something. I think I'm going to say something. I'm going to make it funny. And I think 7 minutes, if you'd have gone 8, somebody would have piped up.
Right.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, whatever they're going to try. Well, yeah. Right. Why do you look like half Shemp Howard and half Clark Gable? What do you do? The Clark Gable side to us.
Right. Exactly.
And everybody laughs, and then it's all the pressure is off, and you say goodnight.
It was great. And so so the energy was there.
That's awesome.
I had my rhythm.
Sweet.
And it just worked. You know.
Redemption.
I got in, got out. No one got hurt. You know.
You can do it.
And the girl I was seeing at the time was beyond floored.
Oh my God!
You know, she was like, I feel like you're.
You guys did it 2 or 3 or 4 times that night. She just couldn't have enough. Wasn't enough for you.
My friend, who is an agent, was an agent, is an agent.
He was there.
Longtime friend of mine. He was visiting from here to visit me. And not that matters. He's an agent, but my point is that he's used to seeing talent shows. That's what he does.
Right.
And that's not our friendship. Our friendship is friendship. But he's like, dude, you fucking killed it, man. That was amazing to see. Believe me when I tell you, I see this all the time. I saw you back in the day when you were first starting out. I'd come up with mics and watch you, and it's great. But this was different. I mean, this place was electric, and you mowed them. My hats off to you, man. That was impressive.
Wow, that's great. So you had a whole other chemistry.
We were eating at Harry Carey's.
Yeah.
Right? And some guy comes up to me and says, this has never happened.
Okay.
Before or since, and says, you were at the Improv last night, weren't you? I said, yeah. He goes, dude, you were so great. And my friend was there witnessing this. So it was just a golden moment to make up for this completely horrific time.
Right.
When I was there in July. So it was.
So there was redemption. And then from that, you're able to take that high and keep pushing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And remember
Yeah.
what that magic is when you go up there, because there is a chemistry. There really is.
Yeah.
It's not just the joke itself. Unless you have a killer, powerful joke that
Right.
works on anybody and anything because of its amazingness,
Right.
then that
Maybe a
goes a
couple things
long fucking
were
way.
evergreen and universal, but my twin brother, who's seen me quite a few times back when I was doing it,
Twin.
he mid '90s. So this is all
Wait,
when
you
I
have a
was.
twin brother?
I do have a twin brother. Yeah,
He's
fraternal twin.
oh, looks totally nothing like you.
He has the same. We share the no hair thing, but he
Wait a minute, is that your shape of your head? Can I see the shape of your head again? I'm just judging it from the shape of my head. You've got one of those. You got looks like a bigger brain than I do.
I don't.
I think I think my head's pretty low compared to yours. Oh man, it's nice,
Yeah.
nice one. But dude, you must be super smart. Did you go to
No,
college?
I did, but I didn't
Smart.
do all that well. But
What'd you study?
theater.
So how are you as an actor?
Oh my God,
How
acting
good?
is what brings me joy.
Come on, how good were you? Did you get a B?
But being acting, I did okay. I
Were
always
you?
if we could
You weren't a
digress,
C,
which
did
is
you? You didn't get a C in acting three, did you?
I always thought that that my classmates who I was friends with, they were the male, they were just like it was. For me, I always rolled my eyes because it was always just like, oh brother,
Rolled your
like
eyes.
they were just so
Ooh.
everything was just so dramatic, and
Really?
so theater,
Take your
and I
glasses
just
off for a second. Show me how you rolled your eyes. I want to see it.
oh my.
Really? No, wait. You weren't that obvious. Stop it. Everybody, teachers, you're like this.
Holy fuck, Jesus, shut up, you know.
Oh, you're sending messages.
You're having a really bad day. I don't give a shit. What are you talking about? You know?
You're rolling your eyes so hard. Let me see it again. Let's do it one more time. Let me see. You better not have been doing that.
More on the inside than the outside.
Okay.
So this is, also late '80s, '90s. So there was the leg warmers, and everybody was just like, it was like they were in the show Fame, and everyone was just so, I don't know,
Full of themselves?
full of themselves and dramatic, and just like, oh yeah,
So affected by life,
affected,
right?
affected.
And
Everybody was like kind
soaked
of
it
affected.
in.
Yeah.
Any emotion or anything. It was times 10 as far as how they were like emotional magnets, right?
Yeah.
So if they want
and
to
then
depress, if you're depressed, there all of a sudden the depression in them is greater than
exactly.
all
And
things.
like classmates were also like, I also took film, and so even that, although I love film, I
Is
didn't
depression
really,
emotion?
I had a hard time with the classmates that would, I don't know, I never really nerded. I loved film, I loved talking about it, but I didn't like, for me, I always was like, thought part of the conversation was just dumb. Like when people would go, oh, Lumet is so introspective and he's so godlike, and it's just like,
But you're older than everybody, right? When you're going
no,
to college? Are you the
not that
same
much,
age
no.
as everybody?
Yeah,
But it's
some
those
are older than
big
me.
brains. You're a wiser person than most, right?
Well, I don't know about that, but I always just thought it was just, I never got into like the stupid talk of it. I don't know. I always thought it was kind of dumb.
Well,
And I can geek out more now than I could then on movies and comedy and music and whatever. But like then I was just like, yeah. All
So
right,
what's your
I don't know.
place then? Because if you can't be like that, where do you fit in? Like, what character is going to be you then? Well, how is that going to work with Tony Diamond?
I don't know. It's a good question. I always just, I mean,
In the act of life, who are you right now?
who am I?
Are you a
Right.
joy maker? Are
Yeah.
you a super chef? Are you a musician? Do you
I
make
can
people
cook.
smile every day?
I hang out with this guy a lot.
That guy?
That guy.
Oh, that guy. Damn, I got my camera right in the way.
Um,
That
so
guy. Ah, look at that guy.
he's a good guy. Yeah.
He is a good guy. Well, you're a good
He's
guy.
thanks, pal.
That's the one thing I know of you, that you are always a good guy. And to me, you were hit and miss. I think I've been to, well, I was there that night. If I was doing Ectomorph and you were new in town, I absolutely know I would have watched your set.
You mean the guest set, the one in July or the one in
The one where you first came to town and
Yeah.
you sucked a cock.
Oh my God, I sucked a giant cock. It was like,
Right on
yeah,
stage.
it was slapped in,
for
it was slapped
7
in
minutes.
my face. 7 minutes of someone
Oh,
slapping
yeah.
their cock right in my face.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My
Or somebody
nose,
would have
my
came out
eye,
into
and
the lobby
ear.
and say, "Oh my God, that new guy's sucking a cock up there." What? And we'd all run in there.
You guys got to come
God.
watch this guy eat it.
He's gonna close with a ball licking.
Oh man, you want to see
man.
someone eat it? Come on. Let's
Yeah,
go.
he is eating all of it. Everybody, he just took
There's
it all.
There's probably 500
Yeah.
people in there, and this guy is eating it. Come check it out.
You're like a bomb thief. You're
Yeah,
stealing.
exactly.
You steal comedy right out of the room.
Oh, I like. There was no like. I don't even know. I walked right out of the room.
shit.
I don't know what the MC said when he came back up. You know, I don't know what you would have said.
It is
to
hard
cover
to
for that.
redeem yourself in my mind, because when I see you do that, I'm in some way I'm kind of a literalist. So if I see you bomb that one time, it just goes into my head that this is no good. It's never not going to do well. And
Well-
sometimes you have to prove that back to me by doing well, and then that's why I remember you. I remember you're very hit and miss, because when you missed, and when you
Yeah.
hit, you hit, and you were, yeah. But you were
Well-
always smart. There was a smartness about you, an observational, your presence on stage. That's what I remember about you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man. We
and
did a,
some
we did a
jokes-
one-nighter together.
Some fucking jokes, dude, oh my God, dude, you blew up rooms with some of your
I had
stuff.
moments. Thanks.
As long as the audience will listen to you, you got to just
Right.
get them listening, and then you're
I'm trying to remember the one-nighter you and I did. We went somewhere. You drove.
Okay.
It was just a one-nighter. It wasn't that far away from the city. LaCrosse. No, it wasn't as far as LaCrosse. It might have been like Janesville, Wisconsin, or something like that.
Ooh, I think it was Janesville. So you're right.
I mean, just there and back.
Yeah, one night. Janesville's about 2.5 hours outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
or
That
so.
sounds about right.
Yeah,
You know.
and then yeah, that's right. I remember going out there. I don't remember the you part.
Yeah.
But now that you mention it, I did go out there, and so it was probably with you. But I did go a couple of times. But
Well,
right, we went. You just said
We
it,
went.
so I gotta
we
accept
did
that.
it. We've done a one-nighter together. We've
Trying to
done the road
remember.
together.
Right. So what did you think of me?
I always thought you were great. You had that great.
You saw me
You always think-
Ectomorph first, so
That's right.
That
And
must
I
have
always
been
was
weird.
it was interesting for me to see you do stand up, because I mainly saw you do as Ectomorph, which was incredible to see. And so I used to see you do your own thing at, what's that place? Hitchcock's. Excuse me.
that's right. Hitchcock's was a bar with pictures of Alfred Hitchcock movies on the wall. And
right.
then up at the front of by the window, there was a little stage, and it says right next to the doors you walk in. So it was weird if you wanted to leave you didn't want to leave during somebody's set,
You had to do it
or
in between.
even you'd be waiting outside for somebody's set to end before you went in, because you're right there as you're walking in. It's a big long
Yeah.
thing, but yeah, that was hit and miss as a place too, because
Totally.
you could bomb like hell there, but you'd also murder the room.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it was
a-
very
it was a
exciting.
bar, and so people came to watch the show, but they also came to not watch the show.
To talk amongst,
talk amongst themselves. They're
be in
instead
the
of getting a
back
drink.
with the pool table back there.
That's right. That's where the comics would wait.
Yep.
And chat, of course, so nobody
Yeah.
listened. But I saw you there, and then we did the one-nighter, and I always loved watching you do stand-up because I was so used to seeing you with Ectomorph. To see you, like for me, it's like a different world. Like, whoa, he's doing stand-up. I got to watch this. And I always thought you were funny. You had the thing about the gang members and the directions and the, You got to be careful giving directions in Chicago, right?
Oh,
Is that
right. Yeah.
you know,
Did that for a
you
short time.
know? So that was great, and you just made me laugh. You had this great presence,
Right.
six of you looks like this with that blonde hair, and you just had this thing, and and then you were funny.
Right.
You had I mean, everything about it was a good package, so it was always a treat, as I like to say,
Nice.
a treat to see.
Thanks, buddy.
And you were one of a few guys that I always and yeah, that I would stop down to watch. Um, and you were one of a handful, like, when I was either one of those, the offshoot bar clubs or at
Right.
the improv or Zanies or whatever, that I was like, shh,
Ooh.
I actually want to watch this.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were one of those guys. And so, and of course, also equally with when you were with Ectomorph. So, yeah.
Cool. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
I always got the sense, yeah, that we were friends. You genuinely liked me. I could tell that.
I did like you guys. I
Right.
liked all,
So
I
you were a
became,
genuine friend. Mm, right.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
right.
was I was especially tight with Bart, but
Bart, the other
I
person
wasn't
in
I wasn't as
Ectomorph.
tight with Jim, although I like Jim. But you and
Jim.
I were tight,
Right.
but I was super tight with Bart in Chicago.
Right. Bart is a good friend to everybody. He can almost be like a best friend to everybody.
He does.
He's
He's got
very
that
attentive.
great, attentive, funny, great, just warm guy. He had a warm sense to him, and we hit it off right away. He was
Right.
always, you know, and he was always very a fan. Like he liked me, and
Right.
I took him on a one nighter. He just wanted to come.
Mm-hmm.
Just came with me. It was just a close Michigan thing, or not, I guess Indiana, Michiana. Does that make sense? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Michiana?
sure. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Sure, sure,
Did a
sure.
one,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
some, and he came with me. He's like, dude, thank you for bringing me along. You were great. And that was another fun set where everything just it was a hit, you know? Um, in fact, I remember doing that set and in my head thinking, this is going so well that I could literally just say anything,
Mm.
abandon my act, which I didn't
Wow.
do a lot,
Those
and
are rare.
yeah, and I could just go anywhere. And
Wow.
it wasn't a big crowd. It was a bar,
Sure, but that's
25,
powerful.
50 people maybe, but they were attentive, and
Mm-hmm. You're like a
you know,
hypnotist.
it was great, you know. And I was always relieved. I knew when I did, because I used to work the Funny Bones, and
Right.
I always did well at the Funny Bones. I always did well at the clubs. The one nighters those were the ones that were really hit and miss.
Mm-hmm. One
Incredibly
nighters are tough because at a club it's a place where it's established funny, whereas a one nighter it's like, oh, it's this every once in a while thing, and normally there's bands here, and normally there's dancing, and normally
Right.
there's sports on TV, but with this one night, so well, let's see, and that's a hard audience, so they judge you quick, and if you're not genuinely funny, they're gonna go to being at a bar. You know what I mean? They're just gonna be
Hmm.
bar like, and now that's the worst when the whole bar's talking like a bar, and it's as if you're speaking
Struggling.
just into the void,
Yep.
and you know it's the void because nobody's looking at you.
And
Ugh, those suck, dude. Those suck. No matter how good you are with those ones, sometimes you can't break that barrier unless you let off a firecracker for your opening. You
exactly,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And even then,
And
they'll give you 2 seconds after that firecracker goes off, and you better do something funny, or we're going right back to our drinking and talking.
exactly right, right. And just
Talk
this.
loud. Yep. And then there's always one dude in the audience who's so drunk he wants to fight, and he goes, I could be up there. I could be up there.
You're not funny. Let me do it.
What'll I say? What'll I say? One
Let me
time
do
I
it.
was at one of them bars where everybody was talking. This was when I first started out, my second year when I started getting, a friend of mine was booking. So we, like basic open micers, 3 of us would be in Florida, and we went to this one open, a bar that we had scheduled a comedy show at with basically 4 open micers who are good in the Fort Myers scene of Florida. And I'd been working in 2 years, and so I had a god dang good 10 minutes, just a solid 10 minutes, and like a decent 20 even. And then 30, it's a little long for me. But a decent 20, but a really solid 10 to 15 minutes was my thing. And it was one of those audiences that was way back. It was like down almost like a dirt road. It was in Florida, by a place called Alligator Alley, and Alligator Alley is just where it's like swamplands in central Florida. It's like one of these towns, like Arcadia or something. I know that's above the swamplands, but anyways, it was deep in. South of Fort Myers, south of Naples even. Just this place in the backwoods that you'd see in a movie, like, where'd this come from? The big red bar thing.
I just want to interject that's a place that would probably most likely be a miss for me.
Yeah.
That would have been one of my misses, for sure.
Well, we were hungry back then. We were in 2 years, and so I know a place, and they're going to do it. And so we're driving like 60 miles south of Fort Myers or whatever.
That's what I did.
And so we go to this place and we pull in, and four of us are coming out like it's Animal House, like we're gonna be the funny guys, and we're just gonna, So there's four of us. One of us is gonna be MC. I'm second to last. No. I was one of the funnier ones, so there's two funny of us in my little group in my first 2 years down to Fort Myers. There was a total of maybe 12 to 15 people on the scene, and of them, I was one of two of the funniest. There was one slightly funnier than me, consistent, but I was also funny. So I was like, of that group in the 2 years, I rose to the top. I was one of the top two, so I was like third on, and he was going to do the last part because I think he booked it. The funniest guy that was a little funnier than me. So anyways, man, dude, so I got to do 15 or whatever. Mother F, man. 10 in, and it's horrible. Nobody's reacting. So then, of course, one dude in the back, he says the full word, but I'll just, out of today's cancel culture, I won't even use the word, but it was said, say an N-word joke. Right? And I mean, it was like a lightning bolt went through me, like whoa, 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 whoa. So like, we're talking what, 1990, 91 maybe?
Wow.
That was in 1990. And I was super green. Didn't really deal with hecklers all that much, to be honest with you, in the first 2 years. Like here and there, you'd banter with the audience, but no true heckler or anything. And I know the guy was trying to help out. Like it wasn't like he was saying it to troll me, so to speak. I really, really get the feeling like I know what I'll do. I'll tell this guy, he's clearly as old as I am, to say a very, very funny racist joke. Come on, fella, it's open air. Like nobody reacted. Like, hey, Curtis, shut up, man. Jesus, hey, man, I'm sorry about that guy. There was none of that. Everybody was like, as soon as he said it, everybody got puppy-eyed dogs, and they went, you gonna say it? Is that what? Are you gonna do it? And I was, like I said, and even though they're all like, yeah, what do you got? And I, like, oh, no. So my mind wouldn't go there. I just locked up. So I locked up. And then I just said how I felt like I was just hit by a semi truck on stage, and I don't know what to do. And basically I did my closing thing, like a couple of minutes early. I did maybe 12 minutes, because after that, man, I don't know, man. Throughout my life, as far as the N-word goes, I have never, ever, and I know this for a fact, said that word to a person to demean that person, or in other words, to utilize that nuclear bomb of a word and nuclear bomb somebody. I never, ever, because I knew always, that was just not cool. And also, I got lucky that I never hung around kids who were like that. I was kind of a loner as a kid because I got bullied right out the gate from kindergarten all the way through. So I didn't make friends that well. And anybody who would say that word is basically going to be a bully, you know, because that's a full out bully monster right there. So I didn't hang out with anybody who was like a bully. So I never really encountered that word, but I knew that I've heard it in a way that was a hurtful thing. Like, oh my God, because I got called many a fucking name. Bo Dicker was one of the early ones, just because they knew. But still, at that age, Dicker, that was not that was a crusher. I really felt that was tough for me. Even tall drink of water, I took as an insult. You're a tall drink of water. I'm like, oh no,
That's
I
a
don't
compliment.
like tall water.
Right.
What is that?
You know, it's funny when you talk about, well, not funny really, but uh, using that word. I remember a guy that it's a testament of like people's character, right? I mean, that if you're using that word in that context, hateful, then you should just go.
I would not hang around that person. In other words, like I
No,
said, they would be bully, or if they were nice, and then all of a sudden they said that word, they were a secret bully,
right.
and they held secret bully things, and I can't hang around a bully, honestly, in any dimension like that, because I know it could turn on me, and believe me, many a bully is scar. I had like PTSD, and I said, I know if they're going to be that harsh and that mean,
Yeah.
then I
Yeah,
can't hang out with that person. So I never hung out with those people.
it's good. I thankfully, yeah. Yeah, I didn't either. It's bad. Bad people. Right?
You know, the most amount of racist stuff, and even what was turning my. So I was in the army. That was what a fucking rude awakening that is, you know. Because when you're in school, you can be. I was a loner, so I hung out with myself and would find nerds, and I'd hang out with the nerds, and we'd just do weird nerd stuff. But normally I was by myself, and so I wasn't exposed to, you know, any group think, any strong characters that would do bad things. I did bad things when I was in 7th grade, but I was a loner. But I just knew that had special effect, and it was powerful. And here's how I knew it was powerful. When I was I was maybe 10 years old. I used to jump into, go down the alleys, and I would look in the trash bins and see what I could find. I found a Richard Pryor record, super, and word. As a historian, I just want to say what the word is. It just was that, right? And it had a superhero, and there was Richard Pryor, but I didn't know what his face was. I just knew this guy was flying, and it said that in that word that was like, whoa, this is something. So I remember going to my room, getting my record player out, because everybody back in the, this is 74, 75, whenever the record came out and somebody decided to throw it away. Well, anyways, I don't know what, I like to get the attention of my mother is one of my things, because she's got ADHD, and so she'd always be doing her art or in her own world, and it was really tough getting my mom to react. But by that age, I realized it just has to be negative. Whatever I get her to react to has to be negative. So I remember putting the record on, and then he starts telling his jokes, but it's super peppered with the N-word. And I know that I was in my room, and I purposely turned it up all the way, like to 10, that has on the record player. And he was just going through it. It's, it was funny, but the N-word was like really going on, because at that age, it wasn't about comedy really, or even the character. It was that word was such a focus, like, whoa, I know that. And then my mom comes bursting in the room within like 2 minutes, and she's like, what the hell? And she off the thing, and she takes the record and cracks it in half, cracks it, and then is ripping the cover in front. You never. That is not. And I knew it was the word that my mom was reacting to, because it was coming out of my room, and also motherfucker and all those other words that are coming out. So it was a big barrage of dirty words coming really loudly on me, and I knew it. I knew deep down, and I was, in a weird way, I kind of, just to go on another psychological level, it kind of gave me that warm feeling inside that she cared about me somehow.
Yeah, that
you
cared
care
about you.
enough that
She also had a barometer, right? A character barometer to know that word is not okay. Even though it was coming from Richard Pryor, it was still not okay, and she doesn't want you, her son,
I mean,
to.
Yeah, and it definitely the motherfucker and fuck and shit. Those I think those were really the icing on the cake there.
Sure.
But I knew that was all powerful stuff. And even to this day, I really don't use dirty words all that often, except for effect. You know what I mean? Because they're powerful. Dirty words are power. And if you overuse dirty words, you're just giving out potential power, because they're great exclamation points. If you don't ever swear and then suddenly you swear, everybody pays attention to you.
Right.
What? That came out of him? Something's up, something's wrong, something's different.
Yeah, exactly.
And they pay attention to you.
It's
and
profound when it comes from someone who you're not used to seeing it from. Yeah.
You say it in a real moment.
Yeah.
In a real moment of anger. And do you know, never in my life, as angry as I got at any person ever at all, once again, the N-word was not a part of the thing that would even ever be said at all, ever, before anybody was ever talking seriously about that stuff. I'm talking back in the 70s and 80s, and I don't know if it was that moment with Richard Pryor, but I knew that, my mom paid so much attention, like, okay, definitely words that I will not be using unless I want some, crazy reaction.
Right.
And I was afraid to use those words too, the MFer and goddamn and stuff like that, because I don't know, not that my parents were teaching me like all that stuff, that I pretty much learned through osmosis of all the people that I was around or being out by myself. But early on, it was like we didn't go to church or anything, but the people around me, God just comes out somewhere. And I remember somebody telling me, a friend, how like if you say a dirty word, it's blasphemy. And the worst dirty word is to say something against God, because you will go to hell. And hell's a place where there's fire and the devil and pitchforks, and you die forever and ever, long time, way long, forever, ever. And I remember, like, maybe within, I don't know, a year of that, an older kid in high school, somebody by the car, and they were talking, and he said the word goddamn. And I remember it shook me to my core immediately. Like, I felt the earthquake inside my body when I heard that guy say the word, and instantly, he's going to hell. And then I imagined hell, and I imagined eternity, and I was like, why would he say that? It was so wild. I was like, whoa, he's going to hell, he's going to hell. And I remember thinking, he's going to hell, and I thought for like a year how much that guy's going to hell at least once a week. Because it was such a big thing. Oh, hell. He just said it. Nothing. It was such a monster to me. So that's the power of, like, what words, like, they meant to me. I was really, whew.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. They have meaning and they have power. And, I curse a little more than I should. And, I have the truck driver mouth.
What do you use it for? What does it do for you when you curse? How does it make you feel powerful?
No, I just maybe sometimes.
Are they exclamation points for you?
It's the exclamation point,
Instead of yelling, you say a dirty word.
Right. And
hey, motherfucker.
What's nice
instead of hey, Muddy, come on.
Hey,
motherfucker. What?
Hey,
Said
motherfucker. And my wife, she's great to kind of curb, like, honey, you know what the curse is? I'm like, yeah, you're right, you're right. I'm sorry, honey. And then
That's what.
sometimes she gets angry, you know, and yeah, but
That's a
she
good life
curses.
partner you got, buddy.
She's amazing. Yeah, I got lucky.
That's a good life partner.
Yeah, she loves me for all my flaws, and
What part does she
you know,
fill in you? What part are you missing that she has? You can just
you
you don't
know,
have to name all of them, but
my it's what really struck me is that is my wife, and this is her stepmother who said this to me before we got married, and it rang true. It was like an aha moment of my wife, and that and my wife has she comes from a big family. There's
mm-hmm.
8 of them altogether. Eight, 7 brothers and sisters,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and so all different personalities, all different,
Religious
everything.
though, yes.
No, she's identified. She's probably the most identified as a Catholic, and her oldest sister, but the other ones are pretty, you know,
Progressive,
progressive, and what's the word?
Baha'i
Not
temple types.
what's
Anyone will
that?
do. The
Yeah,
Baha'i
yeah,
temple type.
just kind of like secular. Um, but
Sure.
she identifies, Catholic, and um,
Right. There's
but
rules in there.
her stepmother said this to me, and said, out of all the kids, Giselle is the one that has no guile.
No guile.
She's just pure, you know.
What do you mean by guile? I get a sense of that word, but can you explain it further? What's guile? What
Guile
would
is
be
like
guile?
there's no, In fact, here, let me do this real quick so I don't. Uh, let's see, can I share the screen? Am I still with you? Do you see the
Yeah,
screen?
I can
Okay,
see you.
okay, good. All right. Um,
You gonna show me guile?
uh, G-I-L-E.
You gonna show me a
um,
picture of guile?
Insidious, cunning, and attaining a goal, crafty or artful deception,
Oh, a
duplicity.
gaslighter, in other words?
Yeah, I guess you could go that. You could use the
Gaslighting's
word
the fucking worst, dude.
the worst.
Because it makes you
Um,
feel like you're insane.
that's right.
Like, I feel like there's a whole party in this United States that's gaslighting, like, hard.
Oh
And
well,
it makes
everywhere in the
you,
middle.
in your deepest moments, almost think that, is there something that I'm missing here? Are they right? Is that a real right way of thinking? Is that a good thing for society in a way?
What
Am
do you
I
mean?
completely fucked here in the way that I think?
Yeah,
Being
we're
nice to
being
everybody, is there something truly wrong with that? Is there
being
really
tempted.
something wrong with seeing everybody as a human with the same, if not better, potential than you? And you know those people are out there. There's
Yeah,
people way smarter than me in every corner of the planet. There's people way taller than me, way funnier than me, way stronger, interesting, fantastic than me out there. I know it. And it would be nice to know those people. I love knowing smart people and people who just flavor the earth with something different. As long as it's not fucking violence or bullying. If it's negative, if it's a negative thing that's their dominant personality thing. Like 1% of the earth is psychopaths, and that's all of the earth. There's psychopaths in everywhere there's a human being in the world. There's one that has a chemical misfiring in their brain where empathy is not a factor.
yep. We just had 4 years of that.
I truly honestly believe, well, it made me look into it. I truly honestly believe he's a sociopath.
Oh, there's no.
Everything that I know about his father, I think he is a psychopath. But I think this guy was going to be, if he was orphaned, like instantly, if somebody crawled through the window on a ladder, took him away, like in friggin' Raising Arizona. If he was taken away and then raised by two people like that, he would be a normal dude who rode a Harley and was a mechanic or something, you know?
Yeah,
He would have grown up in a different way, but it was the being raised by a psychopath. When you're I think all of us are, especially when we're babies, we want love, right? That's the first thing. We want to be swaddled.
everybody.
We want to be
There's no
hugged
one.
by love, and we also want to be not fearful. No, we don't want to feel that feeling. Whatever that feeling of like, oh no, I'm too hungry and no, I'm not being fed. Oh no, I feel it's so dark in here and nobody's even saying anything. Oh no, I feel like I'm here in the daytime and I'm sitting in this chair and nobody's looking at me or doing nothing. You know? And that's the kind of kid that he was growing, because he had an older brother, and his dad, his psychopath dad, was like, I'm naming this guy after me. So he was, the firstborn was Donald Trump's bro. And he got named after, he was a junior after dad. So dad was focusing on like, I'm going to make this person into me. And unfortunately, him being a psychopath, he did not have a psychopath that was born first out the gate. As a matter of fact, I think from what I know about the guy that was Trump's older brother, he was a very empathetic dude and genuinely to his core nice. That was his nature, was to be a nice person. And he's being fed by a psychopath, like, you can't lose, you can't apologize, don't. You must be a killer and go, and every day's a challenge and lie your way to the top. It doesn't matter. Get it? And he wasn't one of those kids. But he wanted his dad's love so bad, and he couldn't have it. Drove him to alcoholism and killing himself.
Yeah.
Well, the younger Trump, even though he's not being loved by this guy, he knows that there's something there. What do I do? How do I use my smarts? And Donald Trump was a smart kid. He figured out, how do I connect that puzzle piece with my dad so that he gives me all the attention as if I was named after him, if I was the firstborn. Give me all that. And so he's going to probably say bad things about his older bro all the time. He's going to undermine him. I'm sure that he, from as soon as he was like, as soon as that first lie came out and it was super successful for him, and it made people move and think, and nobody questioned him on it, and they said another lie and they all worked in some way, he was like, lying is the way of life, and that's what he learned. And he basically lied his way into his dad's heart, and he lied his way into the top, and he lied his way into the presidency, and now he's lying in wait right now. He's lying in wait. Oh, what's he gonna do next? Is he gonna start his own Twitter and then messages to all the people, and they're gonna and like ants, they're gonna come and invade and tear down everything. And this time,
we're gonna get him.
Oh my gosh, dude. Well, that's the power. That's what makes me sad about humanity, is that we have so many puzzle pieces missing in our life. And a guy like D. Trump that was president, for so many people, he filled a piece of a puzzle that was missing in people's life. They saw him and they're like, oh my God, that's like my dad, or the dad I wanted to have. I wish my dad was like that. Or that's a strong person. I need guidance, and that'll protect me against scary world. Strong. Oh, I wish I could say that to the press. Tell him, shut up, and you're fake. Oh, but he does it. He says what I would have loved to say, because that guy had no right asking him that question.
And we had a Muslim socialist for 8 years who ruined us. How dare he become president?
Yeah, there's such an underlying of this racism thing within the... Man. It's like there's no critical thinking.
Exactly right.
Nobody's really thinking and taking a moment. Even the thing with the cancel culture, like when they suddenly see a tweet that was wrong, and they go, "We want them fired and never to heretofore, and have death threats sent against them, and everything that they do be wiped from the planet," because of maybe something or two or three things that they said. That they don't even look at the context of the person who's saying it, what the kind of things they do in life, what good are they a good human being or not? And it's we're all following these groups. It's all these groupthink, and nobody's critically stopping and meditating and thinking, wow.
Right.
And if they do, they're afraid to say anything, because once again, if you say something, if you live in a small town and if you put a Biden sign in your yard in small town Alabama, what do you think would happen there? What do you think would go down in the small town if you decided to go different than the prevailing thought in everybody?
You'd be tormented, very least.
You ain't gonna do it because you're afraid. Why are you even supporting a guy like that guy? Because you're afraid. It was fear. It was all a fear vote.
Right.
If you
Right.
look deep in your soul, it's a fear slash bully, which bullies are also basically fraidy cats on some level.
Yeah.
But we're so
Um,
caught up with just this emotion part, which I really hate. I hate being dominated by our emotions and lack of thinking. So I was going to ask you, you're married to somebody who was born in what part of the world?
the Philippines.
The Philippines. And you're married to this person from the Philippines. And right now, Philippines are being lumped in with all the Chinese, North, South Koreans, Japanese, just in America right now, as we're looking at things, there's a heightened boil now
Yeah.
of that what's going on, and the person you're married to technically is in that grouping, that knee jerk whatever thing that's going on.
Yeah.
And supposedly, okay, yeah, we're all afraid of this coronavirus. It's still happening. There's strains happening all the time. We can't get needles in arms fast enough before this thing keeps morphing and morphing. And next thing you know, it morphs into the fucking bubonic plague that's resistant to everything. Who knows? It's like the
Yep.
super virus of, like a superhero virus. Like fuck. Anyways, I know, and it's scary. And it's
It's
scary
really
wearing
scary.
putting a mask on is to people is just fear. Like, he's got it. Why would he wear a mask? He must have it. If we don't wear a mask, then nobody has it, and I feel good. So there's that
Right.
kind of thinking. And it's so funny that a guy like that was the president, who now has been trained by both his dad and by Cohen, that guy like who's seen how manipulation works. If P.T. Barnum was alive, he would have studied him. You know what I mean? It was like he's learned from the most hardcore best, and he was able to tap into this thing that's always been there, this racism within humanity, like that's especially prevalent in this country, particularly with white people who technically are guilty of 400 years ago being like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's got to be
I,
in the psyche, deep, 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 deep down in your psyche that you're not even admitting. But there's a kind of a weird legacy that has brought because of how hardcore the people were who were in slavery. I mean, god dang, if there was such a thing as human devil people, the people who owned slaves were pretty much riding on that thing to be able to willingly see that they're not human beings, even
well,
though they have kids and you could have a kid with one of them,
yeah.
but they're not human. What?
I think they had to talk themselves into
What?
that belief.
But it's
I
also
can't.
the fucking economy, and it's also because my neighbor's doing it, and I got to keep up with them. And he's got two of them, well, I'm going to get three. And then I get four of them, I got five. And then he's got 100,
Right.
and I'm going to have 200. Well, yeah. And then there's a
Right.
big race to the top, and they're machines. And don't
Yeah.
let them read a book. And whoa, don't make them marry because you need to sell and split, and who knows what the economy's going to be like. And
Right.
oh my God, dude. And that kind of thing. And then to come through time, I mean, you know. To now, to a country that had that and hasn't really, I think that is true. There's never been any reckoning, like a full reckoning, like a
There's not.
real reckoning.
There's
Like,
not, and I think the progress is minimal. Um, and I don't profess to.
it is minimal. If you look at all of humanity, we are a fucking light year away from, 3,000, 4,000 years ago.
Right.
Definitely. And yeah, you can't look at people in history with the eyes of today, because then you got to cancel all of them. There
Yep.
is not a historical person over like 70 years that is not like an asshole, racist, or bad thought person. If ever, all the dead could suddenly have their own Twitter accounts and say what they thought and stuff, like, oh
Right.
no, we'd have to cancel the dead. Like, I'm sorry, man. Twitter cannot have dead people anymore.
You're dead again.
Yeah, if they're over 50 years dead, we do not want them on Twitter, man. They're really they're triggering everybody, and they don't care because they're dead. They're doubling down on their racism.
It's pretty bad.
Oh yeah, I hope that never happens. That'll be a bad future. The dead get now. Everyone, you can talk to a person 3,000 years ago. Get ready to be offended. Hello, Pharaoh. So what do you think of humans?
I got my HU slave to get me this.
Yeah, I built a pyramid using 3,000 slaves. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. More slaves.
More slaves, please.
Oh man.
Terrible.
To do that to another person on just as a personal level. To do something like that to another human being that you know deep down as a person with empathy. I think majority of humans have that naturally. You do have empathy. How are you going to care for a baby if you don't care? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's all going to be like train spotting all the time. Like, oh no, the baby's dead again. Oh, well, heroin's so awesome.
It always fascinates me, you know, when you talk about empathy and the way people react to others, you know, to figure out, you know, and people like, you know, I give people some slack, but when just talking about like slavery, you know, when you think about people owning someone else, it's this hardcore cruelty and ambivalence to their feelings, this lack of empathy. You know, like I don't understand that part. I don't.
You have to lie to yourself. You have to fucking lie to yourself, like hardcore, and believe that shit.
Right.
That's one of the reasons I think Donald Trump was so successful as far as being able to sell his lies, because when he said them, it really looked like he believed that shit. Marlon Brando'd his way through lies all the time. And even though you know it was like he's saying it is like, this is real. And there's a whole segment of society going, everything he says is real because he believes everything he says is real, because look at that acting. Look at that. And I believe Donald Trump was such a narcissist for so long and so deep that he really believes everything he says is true in a certain way in his mind.
Yeah.
And he sells it and people we believe it. And that's, oh man, dude.
You know, I was, so I work in TV, a freelance producer, and I was working on a pilot for BET during the election, leading up to the election and during the election.
This most recent one.
2016.
Oh shit! What an interesting time.
Yeah.
Go on.
And I was sitting in the edit bay, working on the pilot.
Yes.
And the editor, and we had the election results coming on on the TV. So him and I, TV, editing the pilot. And this guy had worked on The Apprentice.
Okay.
You know, they have different shifts, night editor, day editor, you're doing this, you're doing that. But he was part of this editing machine of The Apprentice. And we were editing our pilot, which was, you know, a game show. And we were looking up at the results, doing this, looking at the results. And at one point, him, the monster, as I call him, was up there. And the editor looks at him and goes, if he wins, we are in trouble. And I already knew this, because I knew that he was all those things that everybody says about him.
What did he mean by that in the moment? Or what do you think that he meant exactly?
He was like, I have watched hours and hours of footage of this guy in between takes, getting the mic on, getting ready to film this, getting ready to film that, to edit.
So he knew him in a very personal, behind-the-scenes way.
Being a really terrible, despicable human being.
Right.
And it's just like, brother, you already verified what I already knew, what I suspected anyway.
I think in a way there is some part of him that hates himself. I really think that.
We're in trouble if this guy wins.
But he's convinced himself that he's everything. He loves himself, but I think there's this subconscious I think way deep down, there's a smart guy in there that was maybe 3 or 4 years old, was like, you know, a smart thing. And then it got all layered on top of with all these blankets of different emotion. Like, how can I manipulate all around me? And
Well,
then
there's
I
also
think
probably
that's why he fucking curses all the time in between moments, and he gets excitement from confrontation, specifically using words. And if you ever gotten in an argument with somebody who will gaslight you and will say one thing and then you'll argue for that thing, and then they'll flip it around and they'll argue against the thing that they just said, and then you try and make a connection with them, but they keep twisting and moving, and you say, but you said this and I didn't, I meant da 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 da, and you can never connect, or you're always being maneuvered like dish, dish. You'll never get me to agree with you. You'll never get me to say the truth. I'll go the truth. I'll go lie. I'll go lie. I'll go lie. I'll go truth. You just keep always at it. And the reason I bring that up is I got into an argument with Bart once, and he did that shit to me. And I thought I had a really good point, and we're in like one of those fucking 20, 30-minute arguments. And every turn he would switch things and flip things, and then I would say, well, you just said that, and he would like, no, I didn't, and make me second guess myself. And it was so frustrating. And it was a lesson to me. It was like, well, never argue truly with Bart, because I'll never ever win. I'll never ever get him to say yes to something that might have affected him negatively.
right.
And it was a long time ago, Bart. I think he's not like that now, but he's a good guy. But I'm just saying, in that one moment, it was a motherfucker, because he was mad at me for something. I think we were looking to kick his girlfriend out of the place because he really didn't ask if he could bring in a girlfriend. And it was
Just back in Florida?
me, my girlfriend Ronnie, and him. All three of us had a place in Chicago when we first moved here in '92. And in that first year, in the later part of that first year's lease, because we got to all live together, he got this girl, and he just let her sleep over the night, and then he leaves for work, doesn't say anything, and then all of a sudden there's a stranger in the house, because I left for work, and my girlfriend was like, I felt weird that she was just in the kitchen, and so then I felt I had to be a man and talk to Bart about this, and I think it was that argument that everything was being twisted and turned, and I'm a bad guy, and I'm worse than him, and all this whataboutism kind of things were going on, and gaslighting was happening. And I see, because he did, deep down, I think he felt salty for doing what he did, but he also felt like it should be fine because he pays this much rent, and it's like his place too, and man up, you too, don't worry, Ronnie, it's just a person I trust, and I didn't want to wake up early to disturb her because she's so pretty, and I want to do anything for her. So anyways, we got a big thing about that. But that kind of argument. So I think, the leader of the whole United States is like that. And now he's kind of trained his minions to go that way because it works. It fucking works, dude. That's what the critical thinking and scary thing about humanity is. It works, and it works so well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's working like gangbusters, dude. So anyways, I drove up to Schaumburg yesterday. I'm on my motorcycle, right? Schaumburg, and I see up near the IKEA over in that way, there's this street gathering of protesters. And as I'm, like half a mile away, but I could see the big banner and I see people marching up there, I'm thinking to myself, what I always do. I like, what are they doing? Is it events? Is it something with COVID? No. Is it probably the green, something about, energy, the green stuff, and they're for, something, or are they boycotting something? Did somebody say something weird and bad, and these guys are trying to cancel Chick-fil-A over here? Or, you know what I mean? And so all those things are rolling through my mind. And then I get right up on it, and I'm thinking, oh, there's a flag there, and there's this stuff over there. And I thought, it's got a patriotic theme. I wonder if it's, I don't know. Like, are we for the government checks? Are they down with infrastructure here? Is that what's going to be going? It was Trump. The biggest sign there was Trump won by 80% of the votes. That was the biggest sign behind him. Mm-hmm. And I just felt so sad for like humans. Like there was like 30 of them there.
Right.
And people are driving by, and I don't know if anybody honked or not. Because I'm on a motorcycle playing heavy metal in my headphones, and I don't want to hear nothing negative. But when I passed them by, and it just made me, I was mad at them. I was just sad that propaganda and kind of this brainwashing lie thing is really affected people so much that on a Saturday they would take all that time to draw stuff and put words on things and dress in a certain way and hang out for hours. And it was only 50 degrees, so well, I guess it was good protest weather. But
I mean, that's their, it's
makes me sad, dude.
It's very sad.
Sad.
Like you said, to spend the time to make the sign and to put the words on the sign and to all rally up and get.
But isn't it like that gaslighting? Isn't almost there's that fleeting one moment of thought is to me being an empathetic person. I'm like, is there something I'm not getting?
Well, no,
but that's just for a mere second, and then I quickly come back. There's nothing I listen to Rachel Maddow, dude. I know everything.
Every night at 6 p.m.
That's a history lesson right there.
She's amazing.
That's a history. That's why I listen to her. She does some history. I'm like, there you go.
If you want to, just history. To digress about her, if you want to really see like a lesson or just a viewing of just uber intelligence,
and studious.
Watch her interview with Elizabeth Warren after Elizabeth Warren dropped out of the primaries, and she, goes.
I probably did at the time.
Goes to her house.
Yeah.
Interviews her. Elizabeth Warren's dog is there, who's this cute golden retriever, and they have this chat, and you're just like, they are both so unbelievably, at the very least, whether you think about Elizabeth Warren, about Maddow, if you're at the very least, watching them talk, like, wow, there's no way you can't say that these two women are out of control, brilliant.
How attractive is just, I'm talking as a man, you and me, as brain guys, nerds, couple of us, comedy nerds. How attractive is it when you meet not a smart human being, but also a female human being who's like way smarter than you? But it's so, it's like stimulating. It's like, wow, that's awesome. I'd love to just talk with that person for days and days and days. Like we could talk forever about things and just relate.
Yeah, exactly right. Sorry, my wife is just texting me. She just landed.
Oh.
Still.
Do you have to pick her up or something?
No, she's in Boston.
Oh, she's going away from you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the week.
Okay, you go ahead and write. You don't have to tell me what you're writing. I know you're just saying, what are you wearing right now? What color is your underwear? Yeah. I know you're doing
I'm engaged, but I always answer the call to my wife.
Creeping on her. I know you're doing that. Send me a picture of your nipple when you get in the hotel room.
Where are you? What are you doing now? It's 12:23. Yeah. Where are you right now?
Yeah. I'm going to send you a dick pic I saved. I've been saving for 4 hours until you landed. Here you go. I know you kinky. Sorry. Disrespecting your marriage.
But Maddow, hilarious and funny.
Sure. Yeah, that's another thing. There's a sense of humor there.
Yep.
It's not. If she was doing, she'd be a decent middle act, as far as humor goes.
But she just
not headlining material. That would be too funny.
I don't know how well she'd do after Obadiah Thomas on a Friday at 12:45 at the Improv.
Dude, I think she would have fucking bombed, dude. She would have bombed hard. It's hard to compete sometimes with the people who go in front of you because the audience.
he juggled fire in his act.
Right. The transition is so quick that we were basically shotgunned at that place. All right, Obadiah, now let's go Tony Diamond. And then people don't have time. Like, yeah, that would be fast. Like R. O'Donnell would run up there, or Tom Tenney would do the
Someone should have been up there in between, like, hey, how's everybody doing with their drinks?
Yeah.
You know, you guys doing okay? Hey, next week we got a we got chicken fingers for $4.95 coming Friday night and Saturday night. Okay, let's continue on with the show.
There's the beauty
just passing through town.
That's the beauty of being a comedy host. If you want to be a good comedy host, your job is to say some funny stuff up front, but also get the audience just happy. Just get them happy, and also prepared for something that's going to make smiles happen. And then you talk up the first person, and then when they get off and you're done, you either you kind of, if real good host, you say something about that moment, good, bad, or indifferent. You just sort of clear the air. Hey, we all thought this, right? Now, and then you go back to either the banter or some more jokes or your better stuff, because you're working on, being the middle act yourself. So we do a little bit better. But you're also very giving to the next person, and the next person goes up, good, bad, or ugly. Then you make, once again, comment on that. And then if you just keep going. So you being the fourth person, if I was the host and doing my job, and I knew this job back then, I would have really read the crowd how much they were into Obadiah, and I would have tried to change that energy in any way that I could. And that usually means you got to be up there for about 3 minutes.
Definitely, like,
you got to be up there for 3 minutes.
Bringing me up.
In case somebody's expecting you to go, let's do an encore with Obadiah. One more time, Obadiah. Here we go. Before this next, wait a minute. I was going to do Tony. Let's get Obadiah back up here. What? No way. And then it was, and then he leaves. And then, all right, we're going to do Tony. But one more joke from Obadiah. Who wants it? And then he comes, like body surfing back up to the stage.
Right, exactly.
And then you're waiting. Oh, boy.
All
right, now we got this next guy. He's new in town. You don't know him.
And by the way, nicest guy to ever want to meet, Obadiah Thomas.
Oh, Obadiah's awesome, dude. You can't. That was not saying anything against Obadiah doing so amazing.
I had to follow him, and the guy had music cues, and he juggled bowling balls and fire.
You can compete with that, bro.
Not at all. No.
Best way to compete with that, if that ever happens again, what I know of comedy is you cannot match the energy. It's just not going to happen normally, unless you're Robin Williams or something. Then you can surpass it. But you have to change the energy and bring it to you. That's where confidence and real, basically confidence or fake confidence. You fake confidence, so they're willing to go, all right, we'll follow you now. You gotta lead the people. Much like how weak, when I was saying weak people are against. They'll give you a chance. But if you blow that chance right out the gate and you blew it, well, you're pretty much going to have to call it unless you have some real magic coming up.
Yeah, I blew it. I didn't want to I didn't want to be like, I wanted to tank and be like, okay, I'm out. Bye. After 48 seconds.
Yeah, but you can't.
I stayed up there. No, didn't. I stayed up there, did my little set, and thanks a lot. See you later. And I in my head, as I was doing the set, in my head, I'm like, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have opened, I should have borrowed a lighter from somebody and just, did a lighter thing.
Yeah, you can't do that. What if I would? What if I started with my closer?
I could have gotten them on my side if I had
closed my
open, following this extravagant thing,
What if?
And I didn't do that, and so.
You're just thinking, what if, for months. What if?
I should have done this.
Yeah. Well, now as an older guy, there's no point in doing what if. That's just beating yourself up nowadays. You're like, it is pointless to go what if, unless you're truly doing something like, all right, I'm going to rewrite this joke. Then what if? All right, what if I put it this ending? So that is a way you can what if it. But if you're just beating yourself up, you're not doing any good, because that specter, the next time you go up, it's always going to be a little bit in your subconscious, and all it takes is one joke up front not to land again, and that flop sweat comes back.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're sunk, dude. And then the third time you go up, it could come back, and you could bomb 8 times in a row. And then think you're just be like, I got to move back to wherever I came from. Mom, Dad, I'm coming home. I did 8 in a row.
You've
and
been
they
there
hate
2
me.
weeks. What do you mean you're coming home?
I ruined the town.
I ruined it. I'm ruined. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, on my way to Chicago,
Yeah.
I drove. I packed up my car, and on my last night, I stayed in Omaha, and I called around. I had two choices. I was either going to stay in my Motel 6 hotel room, order Domino's pizza, and watch Demolition Man on
This was
HBO
in
my room.
1994.
That's right. Watch Demolition Man in my room and have a pizza and do nothing. Or I was going to look through the yellow pages, see if there's a comedy club, and try and get on.
Whoa.
They had a yellow pages.
Yeah.
They had a phone.
Yes.
And there was a Spaghetti Works comedy club.
Spaghetti Works.
In the downtown, Old Town, Omaha area. So
That's
I called
funny.
and I'm passing through town.
Yeah.
Moving to Chicago. I'm a comic. Is there any chance I can get any kind of a spot tonight?
Of course.
And the guy's like, absolutely you can.
Yeah.
Be here at 9, 9 o'clock.
Sure.
So,
You're
there was
excited?
MC middle headliner at this place. And
These people don't know you. They don't know you bombed in Chicago. They have no clue.
no idea. No idea.
Although,
idea.
as you get introduced, you hear one guy. That's the guy that bombed in Chicago. What? He bombed?
I saw
He
that
bombed
coming
everybody in Chicago. This guy's going up right now. Look at him.
He had to follow a guy with fire, and he couldn't.
There
do
were
it.
400 people, and he sucked. I was gonna throw something at him. Let's see what. Wait,
Let's see.
probably gonna say the same stuff. He's gonna
man.
talk about his mom. Watch.
If he talks about his mom, I'm gonna kick his ass.
Just the one guy you just had, the one big mouth drunk guy you have to have at that
Exactly.
show. That was also the Chicago one.
I
Oh
saw
no!
this guy back in July.
So
Not
you go
good.
up. How did you do?
Great. It went great.
Sweet.
It was great. And it just so happened. So the guy who managed that club, ran it, was
Wow.
like, well, you already got. I told him the story that I'm moving to do stand up. He's like, well, you already got your first. We'll book you here. That's
Whoa.
done. Your first booking's done.
Where's this
Figure
now?
out a date. It no longer exists, but it was.
But
in
how far
Spaghetti
away
Works.
from Chicago is that?
Omaha is? I want to say a 9-hour drive.
Holy shit, dude! So you already got a road gig place you can hit 9 hours away.
Yeah.
So
Seems
you
like-
only do that
well-
if you are visiting home again?
No. I worked there a couple times.
Really? You
Yeah,
drove
yeah.
9 hours for a
Oh,
middle
I-
act? Did you middle?
No, I did middle.
You get a room and $300?
Was it 300 something like that? Yeah. No,
One show Friday, 2 on Saturday?
I believe so. My memory's fading on the exact logistics
okay.
of the setup, but yeah. But it turns out that the middle act that night was staying at the Motel 6. That's where they put you up
Okay.
in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So we went back to the Motel 6. We got super stoned, and he said, you were really funny. You did a great job. And obviously I heard him say they're going to book you there.
Right,
He
right.
said, take these names and numbers down. And he gave me a list and I tore out the back of the in the motel, there's there's a notebook, right, that has like restaurants nearby. And there was a little mini, whatever it was. I tore out a page from that notebook,
Right.
from the motel in the Motel 6 Council Bluffs, and I wrote down all these names of all these bookers in the Midwest. He said, first, let me give you all their names and their numbers. So he gave me all the names and all the numbers because he had them in his little, Rolodex
Right.
thing. He's like, okay, now let's go back. He goes, check the ones, I'll check off this, check off this, check off this. Those are the ones you can call and use my name. The other ones will not matter if you use my name. So don't use my name there because it won't do any good.
Oh, that's great.
So, So it was about 12 names.
Wow.
And got to Chicago. I had my little tape that I could send out to someone if they wanted to see tape.
Look at you.
And
You're way ahead of me.
so
Took me like
I-
12
I-
years to learn even half of that.
I called up the guys on the list, and they said, "Oh, okay, you got the referral from okay. Well, here, let's get you. I've got my calendar now. Why don't you come out here on da. And that began my road comic
Wow.
career. Yep.
How long did you road
And that
comic for?
just the 4 years I was in Chicago.
4 years.
By the time I got back to LA in '98,
Yeah.
I was going to do Pacific Northwest Road,
Mm-hmm.
but it was completely different because I would have had
It's like
to
starting over again.
it wasn't starting over. It paid a lot less to do the same, like the one, and they were all like shitty one-nighters
Right.
like in Oregon and Washington and Montana and Idaho and all those, all the states, all the from here.
Right. And you're still
and
a
I would,
middle act, right? You're not a
yeah,
headliner.
not no, and two-man show basically,
Right.
just like the one-nighters, and so it paid less. It was far. This time I had to drive, and so let's say I remember getting these guys. This one guy threw me, let's say like 15 shows, but I was going to be gone 25 days. So the 9 days in between, or the days in between, I had to drive, put myself up, so the expense of it, gas and everything else, like
You were barely breaking even, right?
it was going to be in the negative. Like I
No.
did the math.
You're
So I was
paying.
like, well, so I literally like went and scratched off road comic from my bucket list of things. Like, okay, did that, boom. And to go back to the Midwest where I was working, that meant flying to Chicago or wherever, renting a car,
Yeah.
or borrowing one if I could do that, which was not guaranteed.
That's headliner stuff.
So it's like, okay.
Why didn't you become a headliner? Why didn't you go that next step and go, well, I need to make more
I
money?
guess I would have.
Confidence?
I was a good middle act. Maybe confidence, sure. I was a good middle act. I had the time. People liked me. But I remember like when I would do the Funny Bone, I would MC. And at most of them, and it was the guy in Columbus who said it the best. He's like, "Look, you're great. You do the job great. We'll give you 20 minutes up top. You do the job,
Right.
But if you want to even bump up to middle, it's going to be hard because I have out of 52 weeks, I have 60 middle acts that I use.
All right.
So there's just you're not going to fit. How you
Right.
more work.
You don't have that special spark to let me shuffle you in. You don't have that gimmick
Out of
thing.
52 solid guys people that he uses to middle, there's only 52 weeks in a year. So like some guys I bring back twice a year. So there's really the math of it's not going to work. It's like well that makes. You can't put a round thing in a square thing like.
So you kind of peaked out as far as funny as you thought you were going to get to be a headliner.
and
you probably need what you need as a headliner is a fucking killer opening moment to really get them with you. It's got to be fucking nail that shit. There has to be a middle part that fucking is awesome, and then you have to have a closing that just fucking closes this show.
Right.
I mean, if you're a decent headliner, and then if you're a great headliner, you got fucking catchphrases and you've got voices and characters or whatever the F you got to really just like go above the normal.
Right.
Or your jokes have to be fucking killing. Like joke.
And again, I was
killing.
solid in what I did, and I the clubs all liked me, and they all welcomed me back, and
you're a nice guy.
So I worked. Thank you.
You were the nice guy of comedy. They didn't want to get the nice guy of comedy at the headlining spot. We want to see the bad boy of comedy. They don't want to see the nice guy of comedy. Nice guy, you can middle, but I don't want to.
Bad boy.
I want the bad boy up there, and the guy who's going to die of an overdose of heroin at some point. That's who we want as headliner. We know you're going to live a long life and probably going to have a good retirement plan and married to a beautiful...
You're going to marry a nice woman.
Marry a nice
You're going to get
woman.
a dog, and it's all going to be great, right?
From the Philippines.
Right, buddy?
You are, you're a man of the world. You're a beautiful human being
You're going to wind up living in Santa Monica, and... Yeah.
You ain't...
So, so I mean, it was also harder to do from here. So,
and living in LA, I'll have to say, you better be a headliner before you go out there, or your material just better be killing, all of it, and you better be writing all the time, and killing, and hungry. If you're gonna be in LA will thousands go there, get churned out to see.
No, I mean, I was lucky because I'm from here,
Right.
raised in the valley. So
Yeah.
for me, it was just going home
You're a
after
valley
4 years. Um, but yeah, for most people that came every day, they had exactly what you said. It was you know,
Side question. Since you were raised in the valley, when that Valley Girl thing came out, by Moon Zappa,
uh-huh. Oh, the song.
yeah, were you guys deliberately doing all those phrases and saying? Because I would imagine you'd be in high school back then.
Hmm. Uh, that
Was it
song came out by Moon in I guess I must have been, that was 80s, right? Late
totally,
80s.
dude? I'm a Valley Girl.
Yeah. I
Bitchin'.
mean,
Cool. What were some of the words?
um, dude, bitchin', cool. We used a lot, I still, bro. Um,
Did you ever call anybody the Weasel?
I never did. No,
That's good.
no, the weasel.
Yeah.
No, no,
Totally
no.
tubular. Was that a thing?
Not from totally, but not tubular.
Tubular.
Oh, totally.
Bitchin'. It's
Bitchin', yeah.
totally raw.
Rad,
Ride,
rad,
dude.
rad, bitchin', totally. We used all those. Yeah.
You're
Those were
total
my,
L7, bro. You're
those were big in my high
L7.
school.
You're a square. Oh, wait. I'm going back to the 50s on that one. Sorry.
L7.
Valley Girl. 1980s. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, dude.
Totally. Totally. Totally bitchin'.
Van Nuys.
Okay, so you were in the midst of that crap.
Right.
Did you ever see any gang stuff go down? Did you ever have to be recruited and you had to defend your turf?
Never had to defend my turf, but no. I mean, I never really. I mean, there were kids in my high school and in junior high and high school that looked like
Gangish?
they were gang-ish, gang affiliated. But I had my own little bubble of
Did you ever rob
friends that.
anybody? Did you ever
Oh
shoot
my
anybody?
God, lots of drive-bys. Yeah, yeah.
But this was just
Um,
you by yourself?
yeah,
Just
just me.
trying to say, don't bother with me because I'm doing my own gang?
Yeah, I used to do like initiations just on my
Yeah,
own. Like
right.
if I ever had to join a gang and they said you got to go roll up on somebody and kill them, I would do that.
I imagine you're the kind of guy who would probably secretly go out and learn your weapon really well and then learn it as you're driving. And then your drive-by would be at like near place where your house where you have perfectly aimed, targets that you just hit those and
Right.
make sure nobody's around and just go bang, bang, bang. And then just go, hey, I'm really
I had it
tough.
down because I drove a 5 speed too, so I was able to drive a stick shift.
Yeah?
And before I left, I would keep the window rolled down, the other window, so I can drive fast and stick shift and the whole thing. And I was able to do that, take the Glock out and kind of spray, you
Yeah.
know,
Spray the
and
Glock.
spray. I won't
Yeah.
say it wasn't precision,
Do you have one of
but
them
it was.
long clips with 30 bullets?
Yes,
Yeah?
I don't know what that is, but yes.
Look at you. You're your own one-man gang. Don't mess with
Right.
don't mess with
Don't mess
Tony
with me.
Diamond.
The end. Van Nuys. The end, or I guess for you,
Van
the end.
Nuys. Yeah.
Nice.
So you never got into any of that? Were you ever, as a kid, were you ever bullied or anything?
You know, I would say that I had a few bully experiences. There was a guy, but the thing is I had, um, because I was able to I had I guess attributed to my sense of humor that I ingratiated myself into people, so people liked me.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few that didn't, and the few that didn't made their voices known. But there was a guy that I went to junior high school with who was this like white trashy bully kid.
Okay.
Didn't like me,
Mm-hmm.
but I had friends, right? So they always
Mm.
protected me.
That's powerful.
And so, I had that. In fact, this one guy, and this went into high school, this one guy who bullied me through junior high.
No way.
Just one guy.
What was his
He was
move?
really just kind of like wanting to fight and, get in my face and
Really?
give me a hard time. Yeah.
Push your books out of your
And
hands?
nope, nothing like that.
Bump you in the hall?
Thankfully. Nope, just kind of like tormented me. Um, and then there was one day where he really wanted to square off. And this was into high school.
Were you scared?
And
Did you have butterflies in your
well,
belly?
I was scared because he wasn't a big guy, but I once saw him fight
Mm.
and in the halls in junior high,
Oh.
and he went to town on
Oh
this kid.
no.
Like,
Oh
and I'm looking at
no.
this kid, I'm looking at this fight, like I see a crowd, I'm like, oh, what's going on? And I go, oh, that's the guy who wants to kick my ass and is kicking this guy's ass, and he's I mean, like, Jesus,
Shit.
like, Like this
There's
guy doesn't mess
nothing
around.
worse than seeing your bully beating the shit, like
I
doing the
mean,
final product
beating
of
the
what's going to
shit out
happen
of
to
this
you
kid
if you
in
somehow
junior.
step out
Yeah,
of
this
line.
was junior high. So
Shit, dude. So you, oh, wait a minute. And so now, just getting to the moment where you guys are squaring off. Is this in school in between classes?
it it's in high school. It's at lunch. So it's in the
Fuck.
lunch
How
area,
does it
right?
go down? You're
So there's
paying
like
attention to yourself. You're with your friends. What happens?
right. He comes
Basketball
up and
hits
he,
your
he
plate.
wants to square off, and this guy that was my friend who was I think I was in 10th grade. He might have been in 11th,
Ooh, that's a big
and
deal.
he comes up and goes, never forget this. He was a great guy, and he's like, if you want to fight him, you fight me first.
Ooh, interesting.
He goes, well, just let him do his own thing. He goes, no, nope, you fight me first.
And this guy was definitely bigger, and he's a year
Leave him.
older than him, so
Yeah,
he's a senior. It's not senior, but 11th grade, but he's just
right.
a
He's
year's a
like,
big difference in high school a lot of
he's
times.
like,
When you're a freshman,
you
you
want to,
really feel like a little kid. Even
yeah, yeah,
10th graders
yeah,
feel older than the, you know? And then when
yeah.
you're
So
11th grade, you feel like you're a big person, but not quite the ultimate. And then when you're a senior, well, so when you're a senior, you're a fucking senior. You better not let a ninth grader fucking talk to you weird.
yeah, so he left me alone after that. And this guy
Interesting.
goes, he just said, leave him alone.
You lucky bitch.
And
I had no
I have no
friends.
memories. I have no memories of any interaction with him after that.
Hmm.
One day at lunch, when the guy intercepted and goes, go through me, basically.
How do you
And I was,
repay that to that friend?
he was just a nice guy. He just liked me. He's like, yeah, he's like one of these. I got your back. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
And
that was how you repay. You
that was
didn't
it.
buy
He was
him
a nice
like a
guy.
cake. Hey
Yeah,
man,
I got him like the
thanks.
little the hash line, the little
Yeah.
the coffee cake thing they gave out. Yeah, here,
At least an apple
get you one of
pie
these.
from
One, and
McDonald's the next morning.
you
Hey
get
dude,
a
about
weekly.
yesterday you slide an apple pie from McDonald's to him. About
There you go,
yesterday.
buddy.
That says
Yeah.
what I think. I didn't have to. Oh, some good apple pie.
So the guy liked me and just had my back, and
That's great, dude. High
yeah, that was
five.
it.
High five for friends.
Boom. Yeah, he was a great guy. And that was really the only. I never got messed with a lot. It was
Really?
I had a the humor thing on my side, and so
Yeah, both parents in the house.
yep,
Brother and sister.
3 brothers, twin and 2 older brothers.
Wow. A twin. How's the competition between you and a twin? Was there any? You guys partners?
Partners. Yeah, we weren't competitive.
Not competitive. So your dad wasn't a competitive guy. You weren't watching sports all the time.
My older brothers were
L.A.
more.
Dodgers, maybe.
My older brothers were stepbrothers, and so they were different, stepbrothers. So they were more athletic than my twin brother and I were.
Stepbrothers. What stepbrothers? Why? How does
Because
that
my
work?
parents divorced when I was young,
Okay.
7,
Yeah.
and my dad remarried a woman with 2 sons.
Oh, interesting. How's the
They became,
dynamic when they get introduced to the family? Is everybody on eggshells?
other than like occasional sibling angst and whatever, we all
Hmm.
got along pretty well.
Puberty, in other
Um,
words.
what's that?
Puberty would rear its ugly head in moments,
Yeah,
and like, oh,
I mean, other than
I
that,
didn't mean to say that.
it was pretty copacetic. My oldest brother gravitated towards us to be an older brother to 2 more kids, and so he liked that role, and that was great. And my middle brother, same thing, and you know, and so yeah, we just got lucky.
So you're kind of, so your oldest brother's how old?
My oldest brother is
So
59.
when you were born, how old was he?
Hang on a second. Well, he's 59. He'll be 60 in August, and I'm going to be 54 in June.
Oh, okay. So a good
So
6 years. That's quite a distance away from you. Because my sister
yeah,
was 5 years behind me, and she was like on another world as far as I was concerned.
yeah. Well, I mean, my oldest brother was already by the time we got to junior high, he left to go to San Diego
Exactly.
for school.
It's a lot. It's a
So,
lot.
but he was
6
always
years.
came back for weekends and wanted to spend time with us, and so
And then how
and
close
even
to your younger brother are you?
I don't have a younger. So there's a middle brother,
Oh, the middle. How
and
close to the middle?
he just turned
3 years
59,
older?
57. He's 56. Yeah, he's got
2
3 years
years?
on on our older brother. 3 years. They're 3 years apart.
Oh, so it's 6, 3, then you and your bro equal
That's right.
time. You get
That's right.
hand-me-downs and stuff.
No, they were bigger
No.
than us, so we didn't get really many.
Yeah, you're right. They're too far apart.
No.
And so you had a decent childhood, and you had friends, and you did good in school.
Did okay in school. Yeah, I didn't love school, but I did okay. I was more had other interests, and I was distracted. Um, so, but I did, when I hunkered down, I did fine.
Why were you funny? What made you
What?
funny? Were you funnier than them, or were you
Yes.
the only funny one?
No, no. Well, my little brother had a good sense of humor. My dad had a good sense of humor, and he
Right.
was partly inherited from my dad. But I think that I just kind of had that thing, I guess. I remember making teachers laugh in junior high, and like a teacher telling me that she thought I was unique in terms of like, I don't know about an old soul, but
Mm-hmm.
that she said it was eighth grade, ninth grade, and she's like, you're really funny. You have a good sense of humor. You have a good. I remember her saying that. It's like, at 13, 14, and I gravitated towards comedy albums, Steve Martin, and all that stuff. So
Steve Martin.
Let's Get Small and all
Right.
that. As you mentioned again with the awesome Tom Clark, but so I can identify with that. Watching that, you guys talk like, oh yeah, totally.
When was the epiphany that you had that you're actually going to do this? You're going to go up once.
I guess
What
it was high
that?
school.
How does
that
it happen?
I
Does it just germinate? You're writing,
Yeah.
journey in your notebook,
Uh,
and then all of a sudden it comes to you like an epiphany, or
well, I'll tell you this: when I was, let's see, 87. So I guess I was 19 or 20 actually.
okay.
I had been doing comedy like style stuff in high school, plays and
Oh,
more
outgoing.
comical roles and monologues and whatever.
Wow.
But in terms of my own writing and stand up, I took this writing comedy class, and
Okay.
it ended with a performance at a comedy club in the Valley in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And what was good about these I don't think anyone can really teach you comedy. There's all these stand-up comedy classes, but what was good about this is
Right.
that it was the guy who was a writer, and you again, you ended the thing with a performance, but it was more
Sure.
about finding who you are and writing and seeing if you had.
Find your
And
voice.
he would sit with me a lot, and he was trying to extrapolate from me, to get who I was as a comic, because I think he's like,
So like a
you know,
comedy therapist?
he's a writer, but
Like, who are you when you're on
are
stage?
you,
Who do you
you know?
want to be? What do you
Right.
see in their eyes when they
do
look at
see in
you?
yourself?
How do you, when you look in the mirror and you hold a mic, what are you
Hey.
really seeing?
Yeah, so he saw something in me, and he would spend more time with me. And after,
Were
like,
you a diamond in the rough? That's what I was waiting for. Now we can close the show. I finally
I've been
found the
waiting-
ending.
I'm waiting for 90 minutes to say that. Leave and zoom.
And scenes and zoom and zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah, the longest
Goodbye.
setup
Click.
ever. Darren just did a 2.5-hour setup.
I've been waiting. Oh, what can I fit that
I have it
in?
written down
Can't-
here.
I
Look
can't
at
do it in 30 seconds in. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where could I fit that in?
I wrote it down 4 days ago. Been waiting.
You thought of diamond in the rough, and then you called. Then you
I
texted
practiced
me.
it on my wife and kid before I did
That's
it.
right. Right.
In front of the mirror for 2 hours, going over and over it.
I have a question. Is your wife Josie?
Yes, Josie.
It is Josie. You've been together forever. I
Yeah,
remember Josie.
yeah. Yeah.
I remember Josie.
Yep, you do. We were friends. Whenever you
That's
were
right.
around, you were a great person. You could go out to dinner with you. You could go to the movies
saw-
with you.
we
You
had-
could go to the comedy clubs with you. You could go on a road trip with you and go camping with
Comedy
you.
parties. We had comedy parties where Josie was there.
Right. You never went on a canoe trip though, did you?
Never did the canoe thing.
That is too bad.
Yeah.
I
have been
should
fun.
make that up. You want to go on a canoe trip maybe in the next 2 years?
Absolutely.
Let's rig it up. Let's rig it up
Okay.
next summer when hopefully COVID's gonna be completely dicked.
I hope so. It's gone. I would love to see it gone.
This summer,
I was
we'll just worry about not stepping on any people humping as we walk through the park.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh God, they're making love everywhere.
With their masks on, right?
They don't care. Right? There's kids.
They don't care.
Stop with the doggy style, everyone. There's kids
They're going
here.
Skins. They're
Not
going
next
skins.
to the
They don't
slide.
care.
There's a swing here, and I can't people doing. You guys over there doing a hot Carl right next to the swing set. What the hell?
Carl.
She is giving a rusty trombone over here by the teeter-totter.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
No glove, no mask. It's crazy.
Oh, man.
They're going skins.
Jeez, dude. What a pandemic, huh?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I
got my first shot a week ago.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I got my first shot, too, also a week ago.
Yeah. Got my Moderna shot. I had my next shot on the 16th, April 16th.
Yeah. So just to really quickly go over this with you.
Talk to me.
What I know about it, I like to go deep as a history teacher guide. So the stuff I look at the history and see what's what. But so we get the shot. We'll have both of them, but we can still catch it. And we can also still give it to somebody who didn't get a shot. But we're most likely, way most likely, not to be able to go to the hospital, and definitely most likely not to die from it. It's not saying it's impossible. Because there's strains out there, especially coming from Brazil, that might be completely different and work way right through the Moderna thing. But other than mutation, we can still get it and still pass it on. So the fear is that if you get with a person on like 4th of July and there's all families and they all got their shots, well, you don't know who else they were talking to, and they could be bringing COVID there and still spread it amongst everybody who got their shots, both of them months ago. And then everybody could leave that party and sort of have COVID technically. And then all the people that did not get shots and shit you could kill people again. You could start that up. That's the problem with people not taking their shots, because you're going to walk by them at some point.
From what I understand.
So
the idea
the thing
is
we get both the shots out of courtesy, since we're both empathetic people and we both care about other people more than ourselves. Because, getting married is that. If you're going to keep it going, you got to care more than yourself a bit. Just a little bit more than you. And you also
absolutely
care enough about yourself that it doesn't bring down the other person. So don't hate yourself also. So you gotta do that. And I don't want to be responsible for the possibility that I might have killed an old lady through 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Because you give a shit about it,
right?
About others,
right? Yeah. Like I'm at an IHOP, they give me bacon. Somebody next to me,
right,
gets my.
From everything you said, from what I understand, is all makes sense.
Right.
So you get the shot, you get both shots. Mm-hmm. You are inoculated after a certain amount of time.
Right.
And that
but you still become a carrier. It's still possible.
I believe so. Although I thought I could have sworn I read something from hopefully some reputable source.
Okay.
That said that
I'll keep researching.
May not be transmissible with the vaccine.
Hey, man.
May be fully protected. But
that truly is a great news.
And I keep forgetting to see if I can find that article to make sure it's John Hopkins or a valid publication.
Well, I believe honestly that you can trust the CDC now. I think the whole thing about them being caught for what they did has stirred their resolve to be ultra truthful and ultra ready and as up to date as they can by not taking in falseness.
Fortunately, now there's been in my opinion, and it's a work in progress, but there's been a course correction.
Yes.
Sorry I have a sore throat, so forgive the
go for it.
The lozenge. There's been a course correction, but it's unfortunate that the last 4 years, every single agency was compromised. The CDC was compromised. Right. The Department of Justice was compromised. The Health and Human Services, it was all compromised. The whole thing. The White House was compromised.
It was.
4 years. Incredibly compromised.
Yes.
And I do think now that we are seeing that we are seeing. Oh, I put this in. Oh, I thought it was a napkin. I put it in a mask.
They're talking about.
See, but I
Well,
keep
you'll have a
masks in my
minty
pocket.
smell now.
I
As you
keep my
breathe
mask
in.
in my pocket.
Nice.
So, I think that the information that you're getting now, um, is we're getting transparency in the information.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that, like, and again, it's only what I think. I don't, is that this didn't exist. I got a shot in my arm with something that didn't exist a year ago. Didn't exist like 6 months ago. This stuff's been injected into us that we don't know. It did not exist.
All right, right, true.
But I trust it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, though, it's so new that the point I'm making is that in my opinion, it seems like we just don't know. Like, the
So
efficacy is there.
let me
but
ask you a question. Have you been watching Netflix?
Yes.
And did you
Well,
see I Am Legend anytime within the last 10 days?
is that the one with Denzel?
No, that's the one with, oh shit.
Isn't it
Having a
Denzel?
total name block. No.
Oh, Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith in
Will
there.
Smith,
And one of
excuse
the
me.
things is the lady,
Sorry.
she finds a cure for cancer. And we're now going to give it to everybody. And then all of a sudden, they turn into super zombies. Super.
I saw that. That's a hard watch because he has to kill his dog at some point, and that's just terrible.
Actually, his daughter, I think, dies in an explosion on a helicopter right at the
No,
beginning.
his dog. It's
Oh,
only
the
him.
dog. I'm sorry. I thought you said
Isn't
daughter.
that's the one with?
Yep.
If it is the one with,
Yep.
with Will, that's just the two of them, him and the
Yes.
dog, right? The German Shepherd, and then the German Shepherd gets bit or whatever, and he's got to.
You
I
gotta.
can't
Yeah.
watch that.
No, I understand. I don't watch it.
Can't watch
But
it
what I
with
was
dogs.
saying is I guess that's the fear. I mean, like, what's really going to happen? Do you think it's going to give us all heart disease? You think we're going to have an aneurysm in our brain? Will we get blood clots and all sort of die on in 3 months?
I
All
think
of a
that they do what
sudden,
they're doing,
100 million people that we gave the shot have all died at once at midnight on Thursday, 2022.
It
The
worked.
one coincidence with this 100 million. Oh, wait a minute. How many shots did we give? Oh, 300 million.
300
Expect
million.
death to come within the
The
next.
entire country now only has 50 million people.
Oh, no.
Plenty
Yeah.
of parking. Oh,
I love it. I love it that there's the thought that there's a microchip that's in there and it can track your every move.
right. That it's
I'm
Bill
like,
Gates.
That's where
Right.
critical thinking comes in. Don't they know that the phone can basically see them all the time and hear everything that they're saying, even when
Right.
it looks like it's off?
Right.
And they know it knows where they shop and what they've done and every move that they made and every time they put on Google Maps, every single moment of every day of thing that they were and did and scanned and every moment and thing. Like,
Yep. Your
the
life is
chip is
tracked.
not going to be as good. The chip is like going retro. Like, why do I want to put a chip in you? I'd rather you enter in these pictures of yourself naked that you do that nobody knows about. I want to watch you, and I think you're sleeping and hear what you say in your dreams.
Right. Right.
Siri wakes up right in the middle of your It just doesn't make you sad. And the funny thing about the smartphone is it's like not smart. It's like Fox News saying fair and balanced. It's like the dumb phone. We're getting dumb. Even smart people are getting dumb. The algorithm has us bamboozled. The news is tailored to all our deepest fears of whatever. Like
Right.
if you click on some kind of, girl gets killed near playground, you click on that, and then all of a sudden, he loves girls getting killed by playgrounds. Let's get the everything in the world. I need girl and playground and killed. Let me bring it to this guy. We're putting his feed. Czechoslovakia, girl killed by playground. Poland, girl killed by playground. Yeah. Well, yeah, they would.
Well, I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, of course, like anytime you,
It's making us fucking nuts, dude.
yeah,
It's not
Yeah.
smart at all. It's hitting
No.
our dumb buttons. It's getting our fear going. So it's like a fear phone.
I agree.
We get outraged and all that. It's all fear based. Deep down, it's afraid. What could it be? And you want to feel safe in numbers. That's why we join the group who's, let's cancel. We're a group. Let's invade the Capitol building because we're a group.
It's funny. You were talking about, again, with Tom Clark. You had it right, dude. You predicted it. You were talking about the flash mob And that's exactly what happened on the 6th. That was a flash mob with
Mm.
guns. You said it, with guns and
It
explosives.
was a
They had
fucking
both.
flash mob. That's the thing. It was a
That's what you
total.
said. You said
Yeah.
it. This was October. You did the thing with Tom.
Mm-hmm.
You called it, brother.
But couldn't you smell it in the air? Couldn't you just guess it? You don't have to be a great science fiction writer to put two and two on that one. That's critical thinking right there. Think it out. Critically
Well,
think. What's the next move
I,
ahead? Should
I,
I say
I will.
this thing to this person? How am I going to deal with these other humans?
Yeah,
Nobody's thinking.
I will say that I didn't expect that because I thought that my my opinion, I was wrong. Well, I was wrong. Was that all these guys that are showed up there, that were going to show up there and going to do all these things, and the
Mm-hmm.
idea of civil war, and I was like, I don't know. I think once you have, just take DC for instance, if the National Guard had a perimeter, giant guys with camouflage and guns
You know why?
standing
You know
there.
why that shit didn't happen, right? It was all because things that happened before that. So what
Well,
happened before that
they were
was there
purposely
was
not
a
called. I mean,
overload. There was an overload of people, maybe within the year before, and it was terrible. And Washington D.C. is all about that image or the message or the thing that it sends, any kind of stuff. So when this went down, and even asked for, it's they have in the back of their head, do not put a lot of people there. We got such bad political press last time. The president got very mad at us for or not even the president, but the mayor got a whole bunch of shit and all that, and they were like, we, you know, we can't do that for this one because it looks really bad. It's all about that fucking political image. So there was just enough people to make it legit to keep people out, but there wasn't enough people to see the mob just going for the doors.
Yeah,
They couldn't critically think that that was true. Because if they could critically think, then they could have put some kind of extra barriers there that were extra. But they were, because of the past, because of the image that it sent, that we got to make sure. And they were just hoping that no, they wouldn't, would they? No, they've
nah.
sent the message. They love the police. They love the government. They love America. Look at American flags. Who would invade the American place with American flag? Americans, MAGA. It says the word America in there.
That's right.
It's America. Why would America invade America things? And god dang, dude. And it was like that mob. He was like, well, we're going to follow this guy. Oh, he's been yelling the loudest, and he really says things like, oh, we're following those people. Look at those guys are dressed in military. Let's follow behind them. Look at them. And let's, oh, look, he's climbing a wall. I can climb that wall too. Yay. And oh, look at the windows. They can break them easy. I didn't know glass broke. Let's go there. And look at me. I'm inside this place. Look at this. Texas. I own it. Let's go poop on something.
Right.
And
Yep.
yeah, I think most of them were like they were just following like sheep that they were automatically. So they're like dominant. The dominant sheep were in the front, and then the real sheep were in the back. And that's who. Those are all the people that went went in there. And then if a sheep's gonna when the dominant sheep's gonna push on those policemen, well then all the other dominant sheep are gonna join them, and all the sheep are gonna get behind them, and we're gonna have a big opposite of tug of war in this freaking hallway, where one of the police officers was actually screaming like a true. There was one police officer that let out a yell that was above and beyond normal screaming. It's like this could be a potential. This guy can die now screaming. That's the
That
kind
was
of scream he let out.
absolute agony
It was a scream of like there could be
and
death
fear
next
and
after that.
agony.
Like
Yeah,
if you were to
yeah,
say
that
like
was
as a caveman and you heard that in the cave, you would just imagine, wait, how did the saber-toothed tiger get in there? And oh no, that girl I've been humping with all the kids that we've been having is going to get eaten with all the kids. If that
right.
scream came out of the cave, you would run in there with a big spear quickly. And that guy let out a
Exactly.
scream that he was about to die like a real pain scream, even if he wasn't about to die. The pain, the extreme torture pain, man.
Anguish.
Like the kind of pain where you're like, you ever had a pain where like somebody's like pretend they're breaking your arm and they maybe they start going a little farther, and then there's a part where you go too far, and then that's where that scream comes from. Like once
Yep.
the bone is broken, you go, and there's a whole other level and emotion to the scream that tells any sentient being that's also a human around you, oh, let's back off and help this thing
Yeah.
because we're killing it or hurting it so bad. We all have empathy for pain. Don't hurt this.
And this goes back to exactly what you said about empathy. How do you see that and hear that and not be like have a gut reaction that's like overwhelming feeling of wanting to help this person and make that pain stop?
Isn't
You know,
that's the power of the mob mentality, though? The
how does
mob
anyone want that to
mentality
go
is
and not
powerful enough
respond?
to not to make that still happen, and even more. Now that I've heard that, there's a mentality in that they're all in that feral mind. They're all in that fight or flight, and they're in fight mode, like full fight. And this is the fight that I've been kind of picturing for my whole life. And this is how it begins. We push on these people. We'll go in there, and then all of a sudden, that guy who has all that rope, we're gonna hang about 20-something people in the rotunda. We'll all take selfies, and then we'll torture a bunch of other ones. And then Trump will come back on this horse made of gold, and he will then all of a sudden. We'll all be exalted, and Christianity will be, and we'll have crosses as legit in the Ten Commandments on the lawn, and abortion will be illegal, and all these other people will be immediately sent to hell by God. And they're the ones pushing on this guy, and he's screaming for his life, and they're going, "Yeah, we're on our way to heaven."
Right. Awful.
This is the picture. This is what happened. I remember your scream in my dreams. There's people like that in such heavy duty stuff, and they're using bear spray on other human beings, and they know that's the worst one. That's like the worst. They might as well have dipped all their hands in ghost pepper juice and started splatting people in the eyes with it. You know what I mean? It's like the worst.
They went there with that to use. That's
for a bear. That's for a thing that's 12 feet tall and about 700 to 900 pounds and hungry.
That's right. That's right.
It's supposed to stop one of those.
Yeah. Fuck it. Let's just use this on other humans.
One of those things that's not only hungry, but also protecting 3 babies that were just born a month ago. That you're walking towards. That's what you use that for.
Right.
Hopefully it'll work. I'm sure there's no guarantee to work, though. There must be like a thing that the lawyer said, look, if bear mauls you, do not sue us. Right. Bear spray, but within reason. Oh, no. And they did it on, that was yeah. I'm so glad that they didn't bring a lot of guns, because if they truly if they weren't afraid, at least that, they would be, they're so paranoid that, if we bring a bunch of guns, it's too much on.
Right.
But I bet $1 if all those people could go in a time machine and go and play it over, they'd all been armed. They've been armed, and they'd be wearing their masks now. They would be really good masks, and they'd be having gloves on and everything, and they would have went in there, and they would have probably had poops already in Ziploc bags ready to go, so they didn't have to. They would have been prepped, dude. They would have. Talk about hanging Mike Pence. Mike Pence would have been hung that day. They would have been on CNN and Fox and Friends.
And to hang Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi.
And if it happened, there would be like, well, Mike Pence he could have done something, and he didn't. He's on the other side, so he's not a human. So I'm okay with hanging Mike Pence. There's that's how deep that fucking. That ability to lie to yourself or convince yourself that they deserved it, or I'm right for being this way, and I have no remorse or whatever it is.
Right. And then a
sad.
lot of them, they were trying to get released on their own recognizances and stay at home while they await trial. and some did and some didn't. But
Well, I would imagine being a sheep kind of kid myself, following the group if I could ever get friends. I would imagine a few of the ones at the end, like after the first 100 went in there, the rest of those hundreds were most likely the sheep of the sheep thinking they're going to the mall. We're now going to go into the mall. Let's see what it looks
they
like.
want to be with the cool kids.
Yeah. And, look what they're stealing. Oh, look what they've done. Oh, look at that. And look at that picture. Probably taking pens and fucking laptops. Well, maybe I'll take that as a souvenir. It's our house.
That's right. He's our president, told us to come here.
So there was all types of people going in there. Some that were gung-ho. That one dude with zip ties. He was dreaming of using every one of them. He brought 100 just in case.
And then he said he just found them.
Yeah, he found 100 of them.
Found them.
Yeah, he probably has been waiting so long.
Score! Look what I found. I don't know. I didn't do it. I don't know. They were just here.
He probably sharpied each one with a different name in it. Just getting ready.
Exactly.
I got 2 of them for Alexandria.
For AOC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 2 for her.
Oh man,
yeah, dude, that's so awful.
It really happened. Yeah. And that's the humans we live with. So then what do we do as human beings, you and I, in our own lives to be able to not let that madness overtake our psyche? You know what I mean?
Well, continue to show kindness towards others, continue to have empathy for others, continue to love your family and your friends. And when you see someone, out in the street that's in need, help that person out. If someone helps you out with something like randomly,
pay it forward,
turn that around, pay that forward and help
maybe
someone
pay
else out. And
how about this? What do you think about this? Just pay anywhere and everywhere you can, pay stuff forward just to do it. Doesn't have to take money.
It could be anything.
Anything at any moment.
Continue to live your life, above board.
Right. And don't succumb to the fear.
Don't succumb to the fear.
Because the fear is basically it's just about money. It really is. If you fear it, then people start throwing money at the thing to keep the fear away, or what they think will keep the fear away, or fight the fear, or whatever it is. When you're afraid of something, you'll do anything to get rid of that fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's heavy stuff, bro.
Heavy stuff, dude.
All right, so can we wrap this up pretty soon?
Whatever you want.
It's your thing, or do you got a minute for a second?
I got a minute for a second. Can we pause while I use the restroom?
Go.
All right, we're back. Okay, here we go. Mic off.
Do it. Whew. Stuff, it's so obvious, isn't it? Or am I fooling myself? No. Anyways, Tony Diamond. Right. I've never seen him on open mics. I've seen him bomb quite a few times. And I've also seen him do really good quite a few times, too. Gee whiz. Was it? Yeah, when I remember hit and miss. Hit, miss. Hit, miss, hit. Miss, hit. But good to listen to. Funny, gregarious dude. Was a little different than most other comics when I met, hanging around. There he is, empty now. Hello, welcome back.
Hey, thank you very much.
So going on this theme, you're totally in love with your wife. You don't have any children, but you have pet.
She has a daughter who is an adult. She's 25 now.
Wild.
So I have a stepdaughter.
How is your relationship with a 25-year-old stepdaughter?
She's great. I love her. She lives in Boston.
Nice.
So she lives back east. She's married. So they chat every day, and I chime in and say hi, and she comes to visit. And we visited her 2 summers ago. We went to visit her, and we all went to Cape Cod. And yeah, I love her to death. She's great.
And she gives it back. You know that she really enjoys your presence. She's happy that you're treating her mom right.
She's a great young woman, and Yeah, I love her to death.
And her mom's happy?
Yes, thankfully.
You're being a good husband?
I think so. I try. I
Yeah?
try to be a good husband. I'm not perfect, but I try. I think it's a
No.
challenge, as you
Perfect.
know, being a veteran of marriage.
Hmm.
Uh, I think I still in my head feel like this is new. Even though we've
Mm.
been together 8 years and married for 4,
Right.
which is not new. I still so certain things like my behavior, that were before her as a single person, I still kind of exhibit some of those things. Like, oh, I'm still kind of
Hmm.
used to doing this. I'm like, oh, you know, and it's just like maybe I think it's more trivial things than like anything real significant, but
Hmm.
like more just like routine things for me. I find that I still once in a while still do and think to myself, well, you know, this is still all new to me. So I'm still learning how to,
Be a
which is
good
odd, I guess, but because it's
partner.
been so long. But I do think, to answer your question, I do think that I'm a good partner. I do think of her as my partner. We share everything.
Hmm.
Everything from, we communicate well, so we share that. We
Good.
don't keep things from each other.
Good.
Our lives are intermeshed financially and all of that
Good.
nonsense, all that stuff.
There's
So,
trust, right?
like she has access to everything.
Trust. Pure
Trust, exactly.
trust.
I
So
trust
you
her
trust
implicitly, and
her,
think,
she trusts you.
yeah,
You don't lie to each other, you don't gaslight each other.
no, no,
You
gaslighting.
do you take moments to specifically date her, like make plans to go, we're going to have a date night, and are you that
Well,
thorough?
we just celebrated her birthday. She just turned 50, and
Right.
we went away for 2 nights and stayed in a hotel on the beach up north,
Right.
hour plus from here, and that was great. And her sister watched the dog, and we went away, and so we had just the two of us. And uh, she's now traveling for her job, um, and so once I get my second shot and we figured
Mhm.
all that out, and because if I'm working on a show, then I won't go. But if in
Right.
between, if I have time off, then I'll go with her.
Right.
So
She's the moneymaker.
she, yes, although I've worked, last year was not 2020 was terrible. 2019 was better.
Sure.
Um, but because I'm a freelance producer,
Right, right, right.
and television production took a big hit last year,
Yes.
that thankfully her job didn't take a hit.
Good.
In fact, she got a new job,
Nice.
a big promotion and a big, so yeah, we're fine. And thankfully
That's part
she's like
of a good partnership
good
that's why two
partnership.
people are so great. People talk against marriage and stuff, but really when it
Yeah.
comes down to when the chips are down and you have a capable other person,
Yeah.
you know?
It's funny.
Boom.
I think about when I was in Chicago, the girlfriend I had there, that's when I was doing stand up,
Yeah.
and that's what I
Complete
did. And
mess. Was she just a complete mess? Could never trust her with nothing?
it wasn't the trust thing. It was a trust in that. Here's what I'll say is
Had to
that
sleep with one eye open?
well, only in that like her personality would change like that.
Oh no. Hot cold?
Just like, yeah, I guess I'm now. It's been so long, but I'm trying to
Mm.
remember. Like, it was she. I could never rely on how she was going to react to any given situation or
Mm.
react to me doing something
Right. You need
or saying the wrong thing
consistency
and
to
it
have a
setting
real
her off.
relationship. If you don't have consistency of emotion and
Yeah, she was
that's not
volatile.
fun. That is not
Um,
fun, bro.
and it all came from a place for her, and I understand this,
I
where
get it.
she felt she deserved to be treated. And I don't think I
Mm.
mistreated her, but I don't think I could stand up to the level of how she felt she should be treated.
Right. Rose
I just
petals
couldn't
on the
do it,
bed every time you made
you
love,
know,
maybe a candle burning and some
that kind of thing. Like
Barry
there were certain
Manilow
things where
playing,
like, wow,
like you
um,
prepared.
like I'll just give you one example is that we were, oh, I was on the road and I was doing stand up,
Okay.
right? I was somewhere and it was over. I knew that I was going to be away over Valentine's Day weekend,
Oh.
and maybe it fell on a Saturday or
Oh
Sunday. Oh no, it
no.
fell on a. So I knew that I was going to be away. So I told her in advance I wasn't going to be there. It's like, okay. She goes, well, my parents are coming to town.
Okay.
Um, so we'll just do our celebration another time. Like, that's very considerate of you. Yes. When I get
Aw.
back, of course, we'll do something. So I'm away,
Yeah.
right? And this is before cell phones, before internet,
Right.
before the explosion of the internet anyway.
And the
I'm in some
reality is
hotel in
it's
Lacrosse,
Valentine's
Wisconsin.
Day and she's in
I
a
think I
mood
was in
thinking,
I was in Lacrosse. I was like in
"Oh
Wisconsin,
shit, you're far away."
and and she's like, my parents can't come.
Oh, God dang.
So can we go out? Can we still do something on the night of Valentine's? Like, well, it's a Sunday. The show ends Saturday night. I can leave first thing in the morning. It's a 6 hour. Let me try, and this was all just like, an extra like loop.
Yeah.
So there's that. So I'm like, okay, I'll leave really early
Uh-huh.
and then we'll find something to do. So then I
Yeah.
hang up and then I'm like, well, fuck, now I got to find something for us to do. I got to make a reservation
On Valentine's
Chicago.
Day.
That's right.
Shit.
So from home, not the smartphone,
Right.
not the laptop,
No.
nothing. I'm like calling I'm like thinking of places like, oh, there's that place.
Gibson's?
Using
they're
my calling card to get information. Chicago, Le Petit Cafe on Wells.
Yeah.
Call them. No, we have no, we're all booked up.
Yeah.
Or I call another place. Well, we have one availability, but it's a set menu. It's $125 per person. Like,
Shit.
I'm not going to do that.
Did you end up at McDonald's?
Calling. Well, there was a place. There was a little cafe
Yeah.
in my neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
that I always like going to.
Yeah.
And they actually had room. They knew me. Like,
Okay.
hey, if you can be here, we have a 9 o'clock, whatever, 9 o'clock reservation. Like,
Yeah.
perfect. I'll take it. Call her back. Like, hey, I got a place for us to have dinner.
Uh-huh.
I'll get up super, super early and I'll get back, 6 plus 7 hour drive.
You're so good.
And so this leads me, get my ass home, shower, go get her, because she never wanted to take the train, although I lived on a train stop. And she lived on the train stop. All
It
she had
is
to do was change one
Valentine's
train,
Day.
get off the train,
Right.
walk down, and there's where I live.
But sorry, it is Valentine's Day. If there's one day of the year that you're gonna have to have her take the train and go pick her up, it's gonna be this
Right.
day.
Well, I guess, yeah. So anyway, I go home,
Yeah.
shower first,
Right?
even though the place we're eating is right near, we can walk from my apartment.
Okay.
I go get her, and she lived, not the Loop, but she lived near the Hancock building.
About 30 minutes away.
So I go get her, bring her back.
Okay.
We park.
Yeah.
We go to dinner.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Very
Seems nice.
Very good.
And she says to me, she's like, okay, what have you planned for after dinner?
Oh no. This is the.
And in my head, I'm
Oh
like,
no.
where the fuck have you been the last 48 hours? I just drove home. What are you talking about?
You
How could I
said that?
possibly? No, but I'm like, I go, well, I thought maybe we'd go back to my apartment. My roommate was out of town. Hey, we could rent a movie and we could,
That's where you go. Hamana.
Right. And so she says to me, now I'm getting PTSD from this.
Fuck.
She says, what have you had planned for after? I go, well, I thought we could go, maybe we'll rent a movie. And
Yeah.
she's like, you mean you thought? You don't have this all planned out?
You should
What do
have.
you mean you just thought?
You should have took a gamble and said, I was planning anal. I figured we'd try it today. It's a lot of. I've been buying stuff at the store. I got rose petals on the bed.
Exactly.
This is
I
after.
got some Vaseline. We're good to
Made
go.
sure you had a light meal.
Right.
We're gonna take a shower first. That's what I got planned. I figured we'd ventured to new territory
Stay
in
away
our
from the
relationship.
grains.
I figured since I drove 6 hours, you probably this would be my one chance.
So yeah, no. She says, "Oh, you thought?" And she says, "You don't think enough of me."
Oh,
I just want to go
no.
home. Let's just pay the bill and go home.
She's fucking fishing. She's fishing and waiting for you not to say that.
So that's just one example.
If only you were a better
There
improver.
are others. So I was dejected, completely dejected. But we finished dinner and I took her home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got home and she called me and she apologized.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
So
But
did
that
you
kind
get
of
back in your
behavior-
car and go over there and get laid?
I think I did. Yeah.
Nice.
Like I stayed at her place. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, geez whiz, we're
Gotta
humans,
have your
right?
priorities, right?
Isn't
No, I
that
don't
what
remember.
we
I mean, and
we
again,
want
this
to
all
do
stems
deep down? We just want to couple together.
her need to be loved and her need to be loved in this way. So I kind of give her a little bit of slack for it.
Right.
Now that I've had time to think about it, process it.
But your chemistry was wrong.
Yeah.
You had bad chemistry.
And to go back to my wife, because when we first met, I was working a lot. I was traveling. I was working on House Hunters International and a show called Island Hunters and other things. And I was traveling, working on these shows. I was doing it. I was working and the money was great and I was doing all these things. And then it slowed down. And I think about my past relationship, like had things slowed down and I had been with this girl from Chicago or the girlfriend after her, like they would have been like, you better do whatever. I'm used to living like this. What do you mean you're not working now? What does that mean? So there's this, it would have been a lot of pressure. And my wife is the kindest, most wonderful woman I've ever met and understands and is like, don't worry about it. I'm working. I know. And she said to me, look, and I stay home with this guy and when we're not working. And she's like, if you were gone, who would take care of the dog? You take care of our Bailey. You would,
Right.
I want you home to take care of, and so that doesn't mean that I rest on my laurels and I don't work.
I understand.
As a freelance producer, I'm always hustling, trying to find jobs and connect with people, but it's been slow. And that's,
you're in a
last
tough
year
business.
was on one hand was the upside of the pandemic is it gave a good excuse for production to be the ebb and flow of production of a freelancer. Kind of validated that excuse last year and into this year too. But I'm on a gig right now, which is still piecemeal. So I'm doing this show for ESPN. Still a little piecemeal, but it's great when it comes in, and and it's an installment of 30 for 30, and so I'm excited about that. And so, but to answer your question about her, is that she's wonderful, and I just got lucky to pick a good partner. She's a partner, and she understands, the ebb and flow of my work, and is very supportive.
On that really quick, does she feel, I think we've touched on it a little, and I'm not sure if we got to the answer, but does she feel the thing in the air with all the shooting of the massage parlor and the news report
we
or
talked
anything?
about it a little bit. Fortunately, we live in our little bubble here in Santa Monica, and it's this liberal cocoon for the most part.
Right.
And when she's working when she's not on the, on a work trip, she works from home. So.
But you're not watching the news all the time. You're not taking all that in.
And she's very aware of it. But in terms of her own personal safety, she's disgusted by it.
Okay.
What's happening, of course.
I think that's what I'm getting at. I'm like,
okay.
does she
I thought you
feel
meant
it?
that she feel personally.
No,
fear.
God damn it.
But thankfully, she doesn't because of our environment. But in terms of like being aware of what's going on and afraid for others, and it's incredibly disturbing.
Right, really feeling it.
I might be more disturbed by it. Well, I can't speak for her, but I might be more disturbed because I don't want her taking a walk and getting beat up, or her sister, or my sisters-in-law, or my daughter, my stepdaughter. I don't want anything to happen to them or anyone else for that matter. But I have a skin in the game, being that I'm married to someone, to her and her family. So,
how dumb is it that we as human beings would be influenced to think, all right, so I guess the thought is somehow this person is Asian. The pandemic is released on the earth. There's 500,000 people in the United States killed by Asians doing it purposefully, I guess, is what they think. And so this person here, if I hit them or push them or yell at them or do something to them, I will somehow make the world a better place?
Well, it doesn't help. Yes, it's all mystifying, but it doesn't help when the guy that used to be in the office there, just I don't know, a week before this thing happened in Georgia, he released a statement about getting the vaccine, and in his statement he writes in parentheses, also known as the China flu or China virus. So he's still doing it, like
because it works. Because it fucking works. Because it fucking works. That's simple.
10 days prior to this awful thing that happened in Georgia. So like, he's a fucking monster. Like I don't, So how when things like that still happen, that even though his microphone thankfully is limited, now his amplification is limited, he still throws out these moments, and it's purposeful. Don't anyone think that it's not purposeful. It's purposeful.
Right, because once again he's tapping into this subconscious or this deep-seated, and it all once again is the fear thing, and it's like, this is what I would say, or this is how I would
get
be.
them.
This is how it is, and this isn't my life isn't going bad. It's because of this other thing.
Right.
It's such simpleness.
It's just they're simpletons, and it's just it's and they're afraid for whatever, and
Well, I'm glad
try
that
to.
you live in a place that's safe, and I as I guess two dudes with our white privilege that we don't, all we could do is try and empathize, and we can't truly walk in their shoes.
No.
But my pets, I always touch onto that bullying thing, and everything has a whiff of that, and this is a whiff of that. The president of the United States, to me, was an ultra bully. He was the kind of bully, and this has happened to me once, where a bully was so influential on the playground, he would make somebody else go and beat me up. So I would get beat up because of somebody else, or a couple of people. Actually, it was two people. It sent two people on me.
Had you grown into your height at this point? Were you still 6 something? Were you?
Well, I was always tall in grade school, but I was always the kid with the, because I was rolling with full-on ADHD, but not knowing it, and I'm very sensitive from the past of getting beat up. And before I even went to school, I mean, like, I had one bully when I was like 4 years old, and he would bully me in town real bad, and I would play in my backyard, and he jumped over a 6-foot wood fence just so he could push me into the mud and steal my tractor that I was playing with. And so I would cry, and then my mom would come out, and he would run away, and my mom would yell at him, and then I would be crying, and then my dad would come home, and I'd cry to him, and then he'd scream and punch his leg because he was so frustrated with me for not fighting somebody. So anyways, I was ultra aware of that shit. And so then that's the thing I'm ultra aware with when the president came in, and this whole thing with this Asians being harassed and old ladies being pushed and what?
Old Asian ladies being beat up.
I gotta think that there's another level of a lot of people, because of this pandemic, I think a lot are walking in kind of the insanity part of their brains. There's a certain insanity that's going on in there, and there's a good part of your brain, there's a dark part of your brain, and then I think sometimes there's an insanity that can pull into your thoughts. And so in today's environment of propaganda, and even people who believe in a conspiracy theory where a presidential candidate would want to drink the blood of a child and have sex with it underneath a pizza parlor, and then eat it.
The amount of nonsense that they peddle.
But there's an insanity there. There's a horror movie insanity that goes on there. And it's something it's hard for me to wrap my mind around, to actually believe it so much. I would travel there with a gun and shoot holes in the ceiling, demanding to go into the pleasure dungeon,
It's mystifying.
And by the way, get me a double pepperoni with mushrooms. Okay.
Right.
Let's go to the basement now. Double pepperoni.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, no, thick crust. Can we get the cheese in the crust? Okay, good. You got that here? Okay, good.
I like the cheese kind of burnt. Can you burn the cheese a
Yeah,
little
can
bit?
you make it burnt? Maybe put some bacon on that, actually.
You know what
Bacon.
is interesting about this, Darren, is I was actually thinking, my wife just left this morning. I was thinking like, oh, maybe tonight I'll go get a couple of slices.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking about for dinner. A couple of slices, not a whole pizza because that's
Treat
disgusting
yourself.
for one person, but 2 slices would do me right at this place that's here in Venice.
Amen.
They make a good pie, and slices are giant.
Right. And food is love.
And I want to eat my pizza. I want to love my pizza and eat it with love and empathy. And I don't want to babies.
And then watch Pornhub afterwards, because nobody's home right now. So
Bang Bros, they're going around.
Could watch Bang Bros. Yeah, you know exactly what's up.
I will tell you this.
Oh man!
The moment I said I do was the moment I gave up all forms of pornography.
Oh man! Well, I'll tell you what, man. The reason I watch pornography nowadays is just to see two people actually enjoying each other's company.
Right, because you can't go out and do that.
I don't want to see any arguments or any negative feelings. I just want to see people having a good time.
Right. You want to see the pizza guy get it on. I mean,
Like, I literally, my favorite porn is the one where the girl is really enjoying the moment. Like, she's really like, this is so much fun. And I'm like, yay. Oh, this is great.
Two people living in the moment, being present.
Yeah. I do not like the ones where there's any bit of anger, choking, or slapping. And no, that's too much. I just want to see two people just enjoying life.
Enjoying each other's company.
So that's the only real reason I watch.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
You want to keep up on all the uncles and the stepdaughters, making s're they're at least enjoying their lives.
Exactly. The uncles and stepdaughters, right.
So many. Yeah, and all the cucks. You want to make sure that they're at least enjoying their time in the corner there in the chair. At least it's, something that they seem to be good with.
Share something funny is that my stepdaughter, she was staying with us for a while. Mm-hmm. And I come back one night and she's watching Game of Thrones, the first season, and I haven't seen it.
Now that first sentence was leading into a porn premise, by the way. I just want to let you know when you started saying "Oh boy, we're in for." I don't know if I can publish this.
This is terrible.
Confession time.
This one. Yeah. So she was watching Game of Thrones, and I had come home.
Yeah.
She's a 24-year-old girl at the time.
Sure.
And I sit down. She goes, "Oh, what do you?" I was like, "Oh, I've never seen this Game of Thrones." So we start watching it.
Yeah.
And I guess whatever episode it was, but it's like
sexy time.
Serious show. Like all of a sudden, I was like, I can't watch it. I'm not gonna.
Oh right, they're full out doing it right there, and this is my stepdaughter.
I can't sit here with you and watch this show, and I was laughing. It's like this show's ridiculous. I can't sit here and watch this with you. And she laughed. I'm like,
yeah.
Have fun. I'm going to the other room.
We're not.
We cannot watch this together.
That comfortable. Yeah, we're not at that point in our relationship
that's
where
not gonna
life
happen.
life is funny.
But I don't know what led me to that, but yeah.
Oh, that's. Hey man, you did the right move, dude. Going on that. So when I was a kid, I was 16, and I started dating this girl in Port Charlotte. She was 15. I was 16. No, sorry, 17, and she was 16. Sorry, apologize. So I'm over at her dad's house. Her mom and dad are chain smokers. They like Lucky Strikes with the filters off. My girlfriend, she has a little sister who's like just a busybody, and there's like, I want, like a wild feral cat almost. But anyways, this one night, it's like a Saturday night or a Friday night, and the mom went to bed, and her younger sister went to bed, and it's me, her, and her dad, who's a Harley Davidson biker who used to be in the Air Force, mustache, tough guy, really intimidating presence. I'm basically just started dating his daughter within the month, and this is one of my first times over the house. And I've met the mom, she went to bed, and then me and dad. And so back then, I guess he had Showtime or whatever, and his Saturday night ritual at 11 o'clock at mid or whatever was to watch softcore porn. So anyways, I'm sitting on the couch, 17-year-old, testosteroned up, puberty just started like a year ago. I was late to the game, and he's watching, so he's over here, I'm here, the girl right here, we're in that huggy stage, like huggy, and now we're watching softcore porn, and it's pretty hardcore. With her dad, who's got control of the remote. And so I'm shy as hell, and I don't want to say anything to the dad during the middle of this very intense scene that's going on here on television. I just clammed up, and then I'm like trying to focus on my girlfriend. Oh, we're just in the TV, and then focus, and the dad's right here, leaving it on. Well, anyways, it seems like half an hour goes by, and I could tell he's fucking getting pissed. And the more pissed he's getting, I just don't want to watch the TV now, because I know this is like the fourth sex scene's already happening, and they seem to be going for a long time in this locker room. And
wait, it's you, your girlfriend,
who I've had for a month,
and this guy's
and dad.
And her
I'm
father.
17, she's 16, and he's, what are dads, 100?
Right.
He's a Harley Davidson, was in the Air Force.
But it's just the three of you in this
he was like
living room.
Yeah, he was in Vietnam or once or something. He was a tough
Right.
guy that he portrays. Lucky Strikes, no filter, chain in him. Oh, man. But I didn't want to get up and leave. You know what? I should have got up and leave. Well, anyways, at some point, he gets mad and turns it off. All right, that's it. That's all. And I felt really weird and like, I got to go. And there was no kiss goodnight. Dad was like there. And I left, and then I remember she called me the next day, and she said, "Why didn't you leave? My dad wanted you to leave the room. You should, as soon as that came on, you should have." And my dad's mad at you now, and I was like, "Oh no!"
But I don't understand. Did he want her to stay in the room and watch it with him? Or did
No,
want
he
her to
thought I
leave?
should. He started watching his ritual. I guess I was supposed to leave the house and
But was
say
she supposed to go in
goodnight.
her room at that point too, so he could watch it by himself?
Yeah, I guess that's his ritual.
Okay.
Oh man, but
I
I
guess
failed the
that's
test.
better than him, like, any kind of creepy thing with wanting her to stay. That's kind of
No. It was nothing like that. It was just me and this dad that was there, and I'm watching sex scenes with the girl that I would like to have sex with at some point.
right.
Probably doing some of that stuff what they're doing. But
You're
this is
making mental notes.
this is months in the
fine.
future.
Well, let's find a locker room. Let's go.
I'm still in the make out stage with her.
Right.
Yeah, it was a tough gauntlet that I had to somehow slyly apologize to him for staying too long or whatever. What messages is this? Jeez.
Right.
It was tough. Anyways, I don't know why I got into that story, but it was not good.
These things kind of go,
Yeah,
they slink
you
around in
remind
conversation.
me of
It's
all
great.
that. Anyways, so we'll wrap it up here. Is there anything you wanted to ask or talk about
Well, I
before we
wanted
go?
I wanted to, of course, thank you for thinking of me the other day. I was very excited when I was standing in line getting a sandwich when you
Oh, cool.
sent me a message about
Yeah,
this. Like,
definitely.
Darren Bodecker, I can't wait to talk to Darren Bodecker. So this is a thrill for me to catch up with you and fond memories of our times in Chicago. And I'm still very glad to hear that you and Josie are,
Yes, still
kid
carrying
and the
on.
whole thing, and you're a teacher, right?
I
Ready to
used to
teach
be a
history?
teacher. Here's my project. I'm gonna go back to college, get licensed in special education,
Okay.
and then get a special education specific job
That's
after
wonderful.
that.
Good for you.
So
My middle brother is a special education teacher here in the LA
I-
area, sort of.
one thing, maybe we close on the magic show and the calling of volunteer up from the audience. The name of the person that was your story, right?
I'm sorry. Say it again.
You were at a Jewish event, and you and this other guy were entertainers. The other guy was the entertainer there. You were there, and he calls somebody up to up there, and they have Down syndrome, and their name was Shlomo.
Oh, you're talking about when I tell you the story when I was in Chicago. That's right. My friend was a guitar player. He played at a lot of in Skokie. He did a lot of Jewish events. He was visiting from LA, but he was from Skokie. So I came out to Skokie to see him do this thing, and he was playing guitar for this Jewish school. And one of these kids, he was a young kid. He was a Hasidic Jew, and he had the payas and the yarmulke, and that's all good. And this kid happened to also have Down syndrome. Cute kid, and the kid's name is Shlomo, right?
Right.
So, any of that you're bringing that.
I know it's very un-PC, but when you say that,
my
I
son-
think of like
And even my friend who was the
way I was bullied as a
chatting,
kid.
we were chatting afterwards, and I was like, "What in God's name were his parents thinking naming him Shlomo? Unless he stays in this bubble in the Hasidic community,
Right.
Doesn't
ever.
isolates and doesn't assimilate. This kid's gonna get his world rocked,
By
as a
bullies. The world's full of them.
kid." And my friend wholeheartedly agreed, and he's a professional educator, and he's like, yeah, he's got the unfortunate name. You're right, and
But I would imagine the religion
I
is
must have
so
told you that story. I
strong.
forgot about that.
The ideology is so strong with the parents. Well, we're naming him after Grandpa, no matter what Grandpa's name. Boom. Doesn't matter at all, one bit iota.
Right. Right. So,
And it
I
just
was
was
more,
surprising to what happened. I remember when you told it, it was it was very shocking to hear when what's your name? And then put the mic down there. And then it was Shlomo. It was like, yeah, it was like, it just out of left, like, whoa, not that name.
right. Kid, you gotta talk to your parents about changing your name. How about big
Right.
name, Bill or
Yeah,
something,
yeah, 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 yeah.
Let's call you Bill at
Oh,
least,
man.
Yeah,
Right. Well, that's a very un-PC, I guess, thing to end this podcast on. Was like, but it's
again, well, here's the thing: is even though we would talk about these things that
mhm,
were not PC, first of all, we were comedians,
true.
and we are comedian, and so there's a little bit of license to, as people who observe things,
Yeah.
to articulate these observations. That's part of what
Right.
it is when you're a comic. And I can only speak for myself. There's that, but there's also zero malicious intent in talking about this. As far as I'm concerned,
Right.
I'm not like cruel and mean and making fun of. It just happened to be an observation that I probably, and I don't think I ever did that bit very often. I think I just did it once in a while.
Right.
The thing about meeting Shlomo, and it was more coming from a place where I felt terrible that he had this, that he had, that he was stacked,
Right.
that things were stacked against him already, and now he had on top of that, if I remember correctly, being named Shlomo. Yeah,
Right. As a comic, so the thing is, you look for humor no matter where it lies, and sometimes it lies in un-PC. It can
absolutely,
get,
and
it's dark,
and
it's morbid, it's downright inappropriate. But if it's really there, it's like a tuning, fork that you're like lining,
yeah,
like, oh, this is no matter, this is hella un-PC or whatever, but this is on its core,
right.
just a funny moment or
I found it
thing.
I
Yeah.
found it interesting. I found it humorous,
Hmm.
and so that's what we do, right? That's, I mean, and comics that everybody likes are far,
Right.
far more, whatever you want to call it, um, than my little couple bits that were a little more risque about those kind of things. Um,
Right. Once
you
again,
know,
it's context and it's knowing the person. Are you a good human being? Do you strive to be a good human being as much as you can?
right?
Do not take me for a misinterpretation or a moment or a thing
Yeah,
that I didn't really, ponder for a long time before saying because we just react in moments.
right.
And but
Uh,
otherwise, you're a good human. Being a good human being should be the true thing.
Absolutely. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I think that we as comics have, again, have this lens
Yeah.
of looking at things, and and we also, it is the job to also articulate and amplify you know your voice, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes part of that, your voice, is things that are, you know things that are a little more like, other people wouldn't go there, but that's where part of your job is to go there.
Mm.
um
Right.
and
And you go there, like I say, anything is possible as far as comedy. It's just how well it's written and pulled
right,
off. Like even saying
well,
the N
how well
word,
it's
a white
written off,
person could
written
say the
and
full
and
out N word. Like Louis C.K. He has the bit where he goes in the coffee shop and he says the full out word,
right,
the N word. But in that context, there's no maliciousness. There's just the shock funny of it,
right.
the
And you
funny
could
of
line up
the
every,
core of it.
you could take a poll of every, I'm guessing every black comic, and they would go, oh my god, Louis, that bit's so
Right.
hilarious,
Right.
and I'm guessing,
But the problem is
um,
that just the thing itself becomes like a landmine. It's just the word, so it's all context is blown out from it, and it just becomes that thing. And so then, when you're not doing critical thinking and you're using both empathy and trying to put your, why would they say that? How is that being coming off? Are they trying to be this or that? Or they really,
and you're right, and if you were to really, if you were really to put a micro um, a stethoscope on that to
oh,
listen, a
right,
forensics on this, you'd also have to do a forensics on every song you love and every
mm,
movie you've loved,
yeah,
and
Right.
paint, it's you'd have to really go through it with a fine tooth comb and like every lyric of every song you've ever loved and like go through that. I go,
Right.
that's kind of off-putting. Why would they? Oh, that's weird. You know. So you've
Yeah,
got
you
all
got
the
to
movies
find
you
that
love, and
balance in there. You gotta
right.
you gotta find that balance in life because you can't be so closed off. Or I don't even know what I'm saying. I
It's just an expression. It's a way to express yourself. And again, hopefully you live your life up above board and you're not a malicious, unempathetic piece of shit. And
yeah.
you are kind and you do the right thing. And, if you're live your life that way, and then you also happen to be a comedian who says these things that are a little off or whatever, singer,
Mm-hmm.
then, I think it's, yeah, I mean, the comics that I love, um, that I gravitate towards more, are I wouldn't say shocking, but are just
Line
more,
crossers, Hicks,
yeah, exactly,
Kinnison.
are just truthful and have this truthful spirit about
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and are unabashed, unafraid to speak these things that everybody thinks about, everybody talks about,
Right.
everybody thinks about but doesn't articulate, and so that's part of an artist's job is to articulate people's unspoken whatever.
Well, I guess what we're gonna have to do with the way things are going, we're gonna have to let it play out and just live our best lives, I guess, is the theme of it, and try and think critically and
Be able to think critically and to when you hear information to be able to go, that makes sense.
Yeah.
To how do you react to this information?
Mhm.
And how do you filter it? How do you interpret what you're hearing?
Right.
And like, I'm not buying that, or that seems to make more sense, or I want to
Yeah.
do my own research and my own reading to see, to know more about that. And that's where,
Right.
to go, wait a minute, that's the critical thinking part of it, like you said. And,
And don't get pulled into the algorithm. Don't get
That's right.
pulled into the dark side of what the world is.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, everything seems like it's a fear thing. So my example was like with propaganda and things, like if you just say every Kia that ever got into an accident and killed a person was front page news. Kia kills another 3 people, they rolled over. Kia, semi-truck smashed into Kia. After a time, nobody would fucking buy a Kia because they think that Kias are death machines.
Right.
Because it's keep getting shown. Oh my God! They're not talking about all the other car crashes, but the Kia one. They're always hyping that. So there's one channel or whatever that's always hyping that. And if your algorithm, like you've seen it, and now it's being fed to you, Kia death, Kia moan, Kia, all that shit.
Right.
Then you're gonna somewhere deep, even if you're thinking in your subconscious a little bit, you're going, let's probably not get that car. Let's go to the Honda place.
Let's get a Honda instead.
I know they have a great sale, and they're supposed to be awesome cars, great gas miles. But what about Toyota? They're good too.
Toyota. You don't hear stories of Toyotas getting in front of a
And that's
in front of a truck.
and we're so influential on those things, and when you can't look at the muck too much, or you'll get prejudice. You will
get stuck in the muck. Yeah, for sure.
You will get a stereotype-minded thinking if you see one certain type of thing happening. I have an old lady that I take care of here in Chicago. I drive her places because she only has one eye. And her thing is, and I tell her, I wish she wouldn't do it, but she looks at the news every night in Chicago and like really focuses in on all the shootings and all the carjacking and all the robbery and all the assault and and she is fucking terrified of living in Chicago. Everywhere she knows the places where things have happened.
She on the north side, south side?
She lives downtown.
Downtown.
On Roosevelt and Michigan Avenue.
Right. Okay.
So, I tell her every time, I say, I do not want to talk about any of that stuff. I don't want to hear about any of that stuff. I just don't want to know about it. If I get carjacked, I don't want to be every second. It's not going to I keep telling her, you're not going to get murdered. Nobody's going to murder you. Nobody will murder you.
You're going to be fine.
Let's go to Whole Foods now.
Go to Whole Foods
and get that rotisserie chicken salad you love.
Come on, get you the hummus they got there. They got great organic hummus.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So beware of that stuff. Beware of all that propaganda because it wants your money somehow. It wants your
Right.
time and attention.
Wants to break into your wallet.
Don't fall into it. Focus on you, and focus on your wife, and focus on your dog, and focus on your stepdaughter, and
Bailey,
focus on
right
all
there.
your friends. Right?
Exactly.
That's the key to it.
It's key.
Right? Find that balance. And make sure you're working out and doing a little bit of meditation, do some visualization, and also make sure you have a routine.
You know what? I think when we're done here, although I went on one this morning, I'm going to do a little bit of a home workout. Then I'm going to go on a beach walk because I live 4 blocks from the beach, which is the amazing thing. Today's a nice day. It's like in the 70s today, which is the first day it's been like this in a while. It's been cold and windy here.
Dude.
I mean, again, not Chicago cold, but, cold for us.
Let me hang with you no longer so that you might enjoy what life has to offer right now in this moment.
Dude, this is great. I really appreciate you reaching out. This has been great. Now, do you edit this down to like a certain level or just kind of let it go?
You know what? I might put this all out in one big shot. Like, F it.
Have at it.
Joe Rogan throws out 4-hour things. I know I'm not Joe Rogan, but what says another human being can't put out the whole thing and not edit it? And
I have a funny Joe Rogan story. I interviewed him for this show. I was working for the Bio Channel.
What year?
And 2000 and I have to look it up. 11 maybe, let's say.
Okay, so he wasn't the king of the world of podcasts.
Well, no, he was 2012. He was on his way.
He was up. He was on upswing.
The UFC stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And I forget the year, but the show was called the Tragic Side of Comedy. And it was about comedians who have died tragically. And on the list was Phil Hartman. He was on news radio with Joe Rogan. So we did this. He was this great interview. He was Joe Rogan. He was great. He was just real and
gregarious in the moment.
He was in the moment, and he got a little emotional because his friend was murdered. I mean, who wouldn't be? I didn't know Phil Hartman, but I loved him, and it makes me sad to think about that and emotional. All these people on the list, but him, his was just unbelievable. So, do this great interview with him, and I send all the footage back. I get a call from the woman who was my boss in New York and overseeing the edit, and she's like, "Oh my God, that interview with Joe Rogan was so amazing. He got, we all sat around and watched it, and we loved it. His moments were so great. It's cutting together so great.
Yeah.
We loved that he cried. We loved that he got real.
Yeah.
So skip to another, I don't know, a couple of years later.
Okay.
I run into Joe Rogan at this production facility.
Okay.
And we're just happening to get coffee. Like, I got my coffee cup. I'm like, holy shit, hey man. He goes, hey, how you doing? I go, hey, I don't know if you remember me. I said, I interviewed you. I was one of the directors on that show for the Bio Channel. We talked about Phil Hartman. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah. I go, just so you know, like, I got to tell you, the only person that I got any feedback from, and they loved it, and I didn't mean by anything. I meant nothing by it, just other than exactly what happened. I said, I just loved it. They loved how real you were, and they loved that you cried, and they loved, they just loved, and I just said it, and he's like, he got really, like, he thought I was fucking with him, or he didn't like that I brought up that he was crying.
Oh no.
And he might have been off. I mean, I don't know. Had that moment been like a little bit aggravated.
Took it wrong from you.
So he was like, he did not respond. He didn't get pissed at me. There was no moment, but he was just like, great, thanks. And then he just kind of was on his way. And I was just holding my cup going, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
You bombed again.
Bomb. Yeah, exactly right. It was July of 1994.
Said the wrong thing.
Improv, in front of one guy.
One guy bombed.
As 400 people. Yeah. I totally fucked it.
And
I felt like an asshole afterwards. Like, I was like, if I could have, I was there to work, but I was like, maybe I should go find out and apologize. Like, I did not mean it. I was telling him, like, hey, they loved what you did. They loved that you cried. They loved that you got real. And that's it. That's all. It's going to be a good moment in the show. And, thank you.
Wrong.
And unfortunately, it was the sentiment was missed, which was not at all my intention.
All right, I'll end on this. Scott Perlman. He's at he's downtown near Second City at the bar, right? And
I know the story.
It's a full bar, and Chris Farley comes in after a show, or he's guest visiting. He's just Saturday Night Live. He's been on it already. So he comes in, guest visits. Everybody, wow, he gets up on the table and starts doing, takes off his shirt and he's doing the Chippendales dance right there on stage in front of everybody. People are dying in this bar. Bartender's like, I can't believe Chris Farley's doing the Saturday Night Live bit right here.
Right.
Well, Scott Perlman, being a comic and seeing the funny and just wanting to help out and up it, took a dollar bill and folded it and then got up on his stool, reached over and put it in Chris Farley's rolled up pants that Chris Farley didn't notice. He was like looking to one side and then he gets money put down there and Chris Farley sees him doing it. See, in Scott Perlman's mind, he's like, he's going to see the money, he's going to dance in front of me, or he's going to really take the money and do a play because he's so in the improv moment. He thought, this is perfect because he's playing like he's a stripper, so if I give him money, it's going to accentuate his whole bit. I'm basically a helper. Well, Chris Farley didn't. His drunk-ass Chris Farley did not take it that way. He took it as someone is stepping in on his comedy that he's going this far out on the plank to do. And he fucking just starts berating Pearl, like, what the fuck? Just like going from like the happiest stripper.
And I'm sorry, you were there.
No, I was Scott's roommate, and I felt it in his bones after it happened.
Right.
I think he woke me up and told me what happened that night.
Right.
I think I fucked up.
Didn't he, Scott, if I remember that story correctly, because I heard that story, because I'll tell you, I have a connection to that story. Didn't Chris Farley like push him down or do something? And didn't Scott say, I got pushed down by Chris Farley? Like, didn't he like react like that? Like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. After the dollar bill thing. So this is the domino effect where Chris Farley is so fucking mad. He gets physical and pushes Scott down because Scott still thinks he's helping out.
Right.
He's not reading the situation as well as he should.
Right.
He's got the comic mind on, and Chris Farley's left comic mind into, how dare you steal?
Right. Well, he was also
my funny. I'm already fragile enough, and I'm doing this, and you, Scott Perlman, that a guy that I don't even know, and so yeah, he pushed him down, and oh, poor Scott. I remember when he was talking to me about it, I was like, well, he learned a lesson there. You learned a lesson.
Well, and you know what's tragic about that is that he died that if not that night, he died the next night. That was right when he passed.
Right.
That was that weekend.
I don't want Scott to suddenly sue us because if that didn't happen, I never killed him.
I never did.
I don't think he wants that reputation.
No, we can cut around that. Yeah, I don't think Scott had anything to do with that. With
No.
Chris Farley,
Chris Farley died a clean 4 or 5 years later. I remember that
story because it was a party that Scott came to after that event, that same night, I want to say, and like, you're not going to believe what just happened to me, and he told that story.
Yeah,
that just happened.
Wait, did Farley really die a few days later?
Well, here's the thing. I got to look at the dates, but like, I remember when the party was. But so Scott comes to this party that I'm at, or maybe it was a comedy club. I can't remember now. But he tells what just happened, and I was like, oh man. He goes, he was doing the whole thing that he does on the show and running around and
awesomeness.
The awesomeness, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of awesome.
Putting it to 11 as far as energy and comedy. It's at 11.
Right, 11, and he
standing ovation.
And it looked like he was.
And Scott Perlman, one guy who's not giving them the ovation, is putting $1 in his thing, and he completely misreads it.
I totally misread that. I misspoke. I didn't do it on purpose, and Scott, I probably would have thought to do the same thing, give the guy $1 and like have fun. Just to go with the bit, right? To have fun with it. That's what we did.
It's the comedy of it. I mean, it is the next level. If you're gonna really dance on the bar, honestly, and you're gonna be a stripper, what happens at a strip club? Yes, somebody does that automatically, and if you're doing it good enough, then therefore you should be able to. But that's not how it was read. Just unfortunately, that's not how it was read. And Scott got it. Boy, he felt pretty salty, but he's a trooper. Scott Perlman, He ain't gonna let no Chris Farley pushing him down get to him. He's gonna carry on his wayward son.
I still want to see the movie that he directed, Scott.
Yeah, it's out
I've
there.
seen I've seen trailers. It looks funny. I love the people who are in it. I love Scott, of course. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely want to see that.
He's doing it. He's working. He's
Yeah.
out there. Well, anyways, we'll leave on that name drop story
The name drop.
of people taking shit wrong.
Right.
Well, I hope the best for you, and I'm glad you're a good human being. And shoot, man, maybe within the next year, I'm going to do a road trip, and maybe I'll come out and visit you, and we could do a face to
I
face.
would love it. I would love it.
We
You
do
are
an
always
open
welcome
mic
in my-
together. We'll see
We
what
can do
two
them.
old
You know,
guys
well,
can do.
it's funny. So we'll leave on this if we could. So I was returning to stand up in the summer of 2019 after a 17-year hiatus from stand up. My
Rusty.
good friend / neighbor was getting into it,
Okay.
and so I was supporting him. He's like, "Hey man, why don't you get back up? Why don't you, why don't you?" So one day we went to a day open mic during the day, which didn't really exist when we were doing it, but this existed there near LAX.
Yeah.
So I went to support him. He's like, "Man, do it!" And I'd already been kind of like tinkering with writing some stuff, so I took some notes, and I did it. So I went back up after this hiatus, this just open mic at a bar.
Yeah.
Day thing, and like, okay, so I kept writing and kept getting up at open mics, and then we decided to book the show at this cafe here in Santa Monica. Again, this was fall of 2019. So him, myself, and this other comic friend of his, the three of us produced this show, and we booked comics, and we all went up ourselves and took turns hosting, and was getting my feet wet and getting, like, okay, I have to, I'm everything from 1998 on is I'm a different guy. Of course, I have a different life, so now I got to write in this lens of who I am now. So I started writing and tinkering with things, and that doesn't work, but that's fine. And just when I was starting to think that I was getting my footing back, our last gig was February of 2020, and we had to cancel our March 2020 show because of COVID.
Yeah.
And then that all, I haven't been on stage since. I write a little bit, but anyway, so just getting back into the stand-up after when COVID hit.
That's funny. I was doing stand-up at open mics too.
Yeah.
I was trying to do 2 a week at least.
Yeah, I was
3
getting up,
for the better.
I was probably getting up once a week, plus the gig that we would do on a monthly thing, maybe a couple times a week, and just trying to do it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go up tonight. And there was this great thing on Google Calendar where you could like click on this thing, and it shows you all the stuff in your neighborhood and critique. Don't go here, go there. This place is free. This place charges for whatever. Not a lot nonsense. I'm like, okay. It's like, all right, Tuesday I'm gonna go here. Wednesday that place is in Culver City, so I'll go there, and picking out the places that are close by and some that are a little bit of a haul. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'll go out there for this one. And then we did our book show, and then we had to cancel the next one, and so we'll see if there's ever a time to go back on stage for me. Anyway, I know there was people have been doing it.
Right. I know there will be. And here's the thing: what I did, what I was doing at that point, because I just gotten back into it, so it's been 2 months in, and so I was in the midst of writing a really solid 5, like really honing it, and then blocking that out, and then writing another solid 5 different from that. So I was about 7 minutes of really solid material at work at month 2, because every week I would try and go up. If I had a good few bits, I would try and do 3, 4, 5 places in a week, all the same stuff but rewritten, a little tweaked here and there, so that by the end of it, by the 5th time, it's either something I can really go with. This has got potential, and I'm really nailing it, or it's this is not going to work. And that's how I started. That's what you do. Just you got to go back to basics and get a solid 5, and then a solid 10,
just restarting,
and then you do a 15.
Well, here's to getting back into it.
All right, back into it.
I love you, man. I really appreciate you reaching out. And,
thank you for talking so long.
Let's do this again, and let me know. Let's just keep in touch. And Joe Rogan, I swear to God, I didn't mean anything by that comment. Nothing. It was no malice. Just like more about love and how great that was that you're watching.
Just want to let you know, there's probably only going to be about 3 people that ever watch this.
Right. Well, if he's one of them, then I want to let him know that it was 0.
Yeah, sure. Me, you, and him will watch this later.
Exactly. And he's going to be like, I love that Tony Diamond.
And hopefully...
I'm gonna scratch him off my to-kill list.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you very much for having this talk. It was fun doing a mind...
I'll do it again if you want. And
yeah,
this was great. I really appreciate it.
Sure, man. Thanks, dude.
We'll do it again soon.
All right. That's it. Tony Diamond.
Peace be unto you. Thank you for everybody for watching. And Darren, you're great at this, by the way. This is great what you do. I love it. I watched some of the other ones, and now I'm a fan.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I love you.
Yeah, dude. I love you too.
Thank you, buddy.
I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And then oh, there it is. All right, so that's the end of the show. My name is Darren Bodecker. Oh, I should have shaved. Oh, well. This is season 2. That was a long one, and rambly. Will I edit it? I don't think I need to edit too much of it. Yeah. Tony Diamond. I think he's a good guy. I got that sense. Did you get that sense? I've always had the sense that he's just been a good person forever. Anyways, thank you very much. Searching for wisdom within the madness. Good night. Oh, that was some show, wasn't it? Well, we went all over the place. I haven't been doing these for too long, so I'm like getting back in the saddle here. And I felt pretty good. It jumped around a bit, but I think there's a logic to it. I think. Maybe not. Maybe it was chaotic and couldn't follow along with anything we were saying, but hey, you have long from here not listened, wouldn't you? All right, my name's Darren Bodecker, and thank you. I'll put this up right away. Why wait? Like I've been doing already for a lot. All right, bye-bye.